An absolute shocker. I legitimately cannot believe that I am live on Blue and Gold's YouTube channel right now discussing that Notre Dame was just left out of the college football playoff. I mean, I am literally stunned. Eric Hansen and Mike Singer live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. Miami jumped Notre Dame, and Bama stayed at the number 9 spot, despite losing by 21 points in the SEC championship game. James Madison and Tulane got in the 11-12, by the way. Eric, what is your initial reaction? I mean, I just cannot believe this. Miami, by the way, or excuse me, Notre Dame was the first team out. The ESPN showed that.
Oh, that's nice. So they get the first Pop-Tart. I'm stunned. And no explanation is going to be able to help me understand this. I don't know. I would have let the AP pick it.
Yeah, I mean, this comment from Felix, social media decided. I kind of believe with that. I kind of agree with that.
The thing is, Mike, I mean, there was going to be a fan base that was super, super disappointed. And I try to be very objective with whatever I'm voting on, whether it's AP, All-American, Heisman, and so forth. I had somebody on the board tell me, you better have voted for Jeremiah Love. Well, you know what? I got to vote for whoever I think is best. And I did in the AP poll. But the rationale that Miami was behind Notre Dame on Tuesday and then all of a sudden was ahead of Notre Dame and neither one played makes no sense to me. And quite honestly, I think Miami had a better case than Alabama did. And don't give me this garbage that it shouldn't matter if you're in a conference championship game and you lose. If you're going to be a conference that has these money-making things that don't really tell us a whole lot, there is a benefit for being in those. You win. Had BYU won yesterday, they were in the field. Them losing, they're not in the field. So there's a benefit for playing in these, and there ought to be a consequence for playing in these, especially when you don't show up like Alabama did. But, you know, it's just absolutely nuts. And my phone is going to be pinging the rest of the day. And it's a shame because I think Notre Dame deserved to be in. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't have a conspiracy theory other than stupidity.
Yeah.
And I wonder if social media won the day. I mean, really, they treated Miami like it was a Make-A-Wish kid. And instead of really arguing the pluses and the minuses, it kept being the head-to-head thing. And I do think head-to-head matters. I just don't think it's the end-all, be-all type of thing. And again, with the conference championship games, if they're not going to count if you lose, then why even have them?
I agree. Why even have them? I'm with you on that. Right? I mean, Ohio State lost, and Georgia's the SEC champ with one loss, and their one loss was to another playoff team. Like, I personally thought Georgia should be at 2. Like, and people go back to the 2017 thing and in scenarios where the loser of an SEC or a conference championship game was dropped, but that's a 4-team playoff. 4 teams, totally different than 12. This is what I thought should have happened, Eric. Georgia, Ohio State 2-3. It's not really a big deal, but I thought it should have been Notre Dame at 9. And I personally thought they moved they flip-flopped Notre Dame and Bama in the case that if Bama did lose, then they could easily just switch them back and avoid the Miami thing. That's what I thought they were going to do. And here we are. The committee Notre Dame has been in the field every single week. Why the I almost did the F-bomb, Eric. I'm trying not to do the F-bomb on our show.
Right.
Why did they have Miami and Notre Dame such a big gap just to flip? My microphone just muted. Did I just mute myself on accident? Anyways, could you hear me for a minute there, Eric?
You
just cut out?
hear for you, but maybe the sensors were
Can
trying
you
to
hear me now, Eric?
bomb. Yes, I can
Okay.
hear.
Listen, this is the thing. If you have Miami over Notre Dame in October, November, I actually am not that upset about it. They did win head to head, and the resumes are fairly similar. There's the unranked losses, but there's the head to head. I get it. I'm not even going to argue. I was like, yeah, I think Notre Dame's the better team. So, but I understood either side of it. I was okay with it. But to do this and be Notre Dame is over Miami, the initial rankings 10 versus 18, and now it's flipped. They're just making the shit as they go. They don't know what they're doing. The committee is a farce. Absolute crap.
Well, they did it twice, Mike. You had Notre Dame blowing out Stanford, who's not a very good team, and you had Alabama beating Auburn the same weekend in a very close game. Auburn with one more win than Stanford, but markedly better team. They were more competitive against good teams. But the committee just switched Notre Dame and Alabama that week because, oh my God, this was a rivalry game, and they went for it on 4th and 2, and how brave. And then they were savvy enough to get a fumble late in the game so that Auburn wouldn't send it into overtime. That switch didn't make any sense. This switch doesn't make any sense. Notre Dame didn't do anything to play its way out of the field, and those teams didn't do anything to play their way into the field. A wobbly 7-point win over a 5-7 team, and then not even showing up for your conference championship game, rushing for -3 yards. Those are the things that FCS teams do when they play Georgia, not Alabama. That's not a playoff team. And when they get into the playoff, they're not going to be very successful.
Okay, so I don't care about analytics a whole lot, which by the way, if you look at those analytics, damn, Alabama's did look really freaking good. They were top 10 in all of these. And I think there's so much of this is subjective, right? I am personally of the belief that if what the hell would Alabama, what did Alabama gain by playing in that SEC championship game? Nothing. I don't think they should have just declined the invite. Hey, Ole Miss, you can go play. Especially for Alabama, them beating Georgia on the road, I'm fine with Bama being in. And again, if they would have ranked it this way in October when they started this thing, that it's Miami above Notre Dame, I would have been okay with it. I would have understood it. Like we've been saying for weeks. I've been saying this for years. When you have 2 losses, you leave it in the committee's hands. Hey, Notre Dame, right. If you want to be in, no question, and you're chilling, you don't even need to watch the ranking show, beat A&M or beat Miami. But you leave yourself in this scenario, okay? But what my frustration is, what I was just talking about a minute ago, is the committee flip-flopping on this. They had it one way, and then they flip-flop it because, Ari Wasserman's out yelling on Twitter for months about this. Like, I'm not solely saying Ari, I'm kind of joking, but like everyone's just outraged. There would have been outrage in any scenario, Eric. Notre Dame gets left out. I think it's the least outrage, right? If Alabama gets left out, the SEC championship is dead. The championship games are dead. Why the hell would you play in them? And Miami gets left out, the biggest outrage is the head-to-head thing. So I feel like, just leave Notre Dame out. It's the easiest. I think it's the easiest path. I think that's what the committee did here.
Well, I think I don't want to start a conspiracy theory because I don't know what they're thinking. I want to hear what Hunter Yurachek says is the reason for it. But I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. Again, I had somebody on the board tell me I needed to vote for Jeremiah Love for the Heisman. I may or may not do that. I haven't cast my vote yet. But what I will say is, if you want me to cast my vote for Jeremiah Love because I cover Notre Dame, then what's to keep Hunter Yurachek, who's Arkansas's AD, from saying, well, I'm an SEC guy. I need to make sure that I take care of my SEC brethren. Then that's a problem. So people need to be fair, and people need to, I heard Joey Galloway and Booger McFarland arguing about this, and Joey Galloway was making sense. He's like, well, wait a second, that nothing's happened between Tuesday. Well, the whole season wasn't over. Well, you know what? The only team that was involved in something,
Boise,
either Miami, was Boise, and they won handily. They won their conference.
Yeah.
So you would have thought that would have strengthened Notre Dame's resume.
Pete Nekos tweets the push for a 16-team college football playoff is incoming. I mean, or coming. Like I don't. It's whatever. Look, this is my last 2 points on it. I'm going to summarize it as quickly as I can. You lose 2 games, or in Bama's case, 3, but that's kind of like a 2.5, right? You lose the championship game or conference championship game. Like you don't really get penalized. You lose it, you leave it in the committee's hands, which I'm fine with. But it's them having Notre Dame over Miami and Notre Dame in the field every single week. And then this happens. Eric, the conference championship games, how they all played out, could you have drawn it up any better for Notre Dame?
Apparently it needed to be a close loss by BYU, and that would have kept, I guess, Notre Dame and Miami separated enough not to consider head-to-head. My point is, too, if you're going to make head-to-head the determining factor, then between those 2 teams, it needed to be a determining factor before now.
I want to pull up I haven't seen it on social media yet, like where BYU ranked. Like what was the 1 through 25?
I'm trying to find it as well.
I have not seen that. Well, while we look for that, let's bring in Tyler Horka. It was I posted this on the message board. I thought it was funny. Like for the past week, like a lot of Notre Dame fans were like, "Damn it, we're out! Like we're out!" And Horka predicts that, and everyone's like, "Screw you, Horka! Horka, you were right. You saw this coming from a mile away." So talk to me about your thoughts about this. I know this is what you predicted in our article on Friday, but I'm sure you're still surprised. I know you were based on our internal communication.
Yeah, very surprised, because if you saw what I put out last night right before going to bed, I thought that Notre Dame would be in one way or the other, and it would come down to Alabama or Miami getting that 10th spot. But with Notre Dame being number 11, it feels like the committee had in their minds what I was thinking on Friday when we put out that article. I mean, we all went around the table, right, and said what we thought was going to happen, and this is exactly the way it happened, the way that I saw it on Friday. Now, what happened on Saturday was Alabama getting absolutely curb stomped, and the committee told us that, hey, if you lose in your conference championship game, it doesn't matter how bad you lose. We are going to think of you pretty much the same way that we did going in, and Alabama doesn't move. I mean, to me, that's blasphemous. Like, you have to make these conference championship games matter. Like, the BYU one did matter, because if you win, you're in, but the SEC one doesn't matter because you're comfortably in. I didn't think Alabama should have been comfortably in. What I thought would happen in that game was Alabama would lose respectably. Like, they would have made it competitive against Georgia. They didn't. They had negative rushing yards in that game. They've been a bad running team all season. You've got to use this as a data point against Alabama, and they didn't move an inch in the rankings. They stayed put at number 9. It's just a disservice to Miami and Notre Dame, because going into the weekend, what the committee told us is no matter what happened with Alabama and Georgia, those guys are in. Alabama or Miami, Notre Dame, one of you guys is getting screwed. And in that case, it played out the way that I thought, and then I heard you guys at the beginning, the whole other conversation is how the heck can you move a team like Miami over Notre Dame after neither of them played this weekend? The committee is going to hear it for this one. And I think Chris Fowler said this is something that's going to be talked about for a long, long time. And he's absolutely right.
Alabama is the number 116 team in the country in rushing offense. That's stunning.
The whole thing about Vegas odds, like people are like trying to argue like, oh yeah, Notre Dame's going to be in, guys, based on Vegas odds. Like, okay, like let's not use that as a data point anymore. That was a thought that I had. I mean, I've been saving so many different tweets for us to discuss on the show, but this was one of them from Brad Powers, who I don't really know much about him. I just know that I keep seeing his tweets pop up. At 11:45 a.m., 15 minutes before, Notre Dame was minus 3,000 to make the field. Alabama minus 300 and Miami plus 180. And then FanDuel, everyone's like, oh, FanDuel leaked it. We're good. Notre Dame, they had Notre Dame in the 8-9 game. I know the numbers are different, but that was just based on last week's ranking. So they had what I projected, Notre Dame playing the 8-9 game on the road and then Bama dropping to 10. I still can't believe that is not what we're sitting here. Stunning. And like the outrage point, yeah, I just think that they picked the one that they think they would get the least backlash for. Like that committee, it's very like difficult. It does feel like it, right? It's a very difficult thing, but just stick to your guns that you had already, which was Notre Dame in the field, and you just switched it when everything that happened on Saturday and Friday night with Boise winning went Notre Dame's way. Everything.
What would you think? Do you think if Virginia had beaten Duke, they would have maybe left Miami out?
Now that's conspiracy-ish, right?
It is conspiracy-ish.
But like maybe. What just a bunch of shit, man.
I think Miami is the best team in the ACC, but they didn't prove it this year. I mean, I think they're way better than Virginia and Duke. They didn't play either of those teams, and they lost to two teams that didn't make the ACC championship game.
The conspiracy that like I was leaning into all week was, oh, they moved Alabama up, so when they inevitably lose to Georgia, you can just move them back down and say, oh, there's your slap on the wrist punishment. They didn't even do that. Does the committee actually think this highly of Alabama? That was honestly the thing I was most shocked by when we were going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9. Who's going to be 9? And it was Alabama. I was like, what? Like that set the course for. I had a real inkling that Miami was going to pop up there at number 10 because, as Mike said, with everything that happened yesterday, it unfolded exactly the way Notre Dame needed it to go right back to number 9, where the committee had them ranked for 3 weeks. 3 of the 5 weeks that they do this before Selection Sunday, Notre Dame was number 9. They were number 10 in the first one, and then they end up being number 11 or number 10 last on Tuesday, and now number 11. So like it unfolded, Eric, exactly the way Notre Dame needed to move up to 9. And then you have that debate of, okay, is Miami in over Alabama? I really went to bed last night thinking this played out perfectly for Notre Dame. You think that they're one of the 12, you know what I mean? Like you think they're one of the 12 best teams, put them in at number 9 and have the Bama Miami discussion. But ultimately it came down to Notre Dame Miami. And ultimately for 5 weeks, it not mattering, Eric, I truly believe that they went to the head-to-head and they said, we can't put in this team that beat that team. We can't leave them out. And Miami got in, which is against everything they said for 5 weeks.
So what's the solution going forward? You know, they have not formatted the 2026 playoff yet. They have not. They gave themselves an extension until January to figure out whether they were going to go to 16 teams, 14 teams, whatever changes they need to make. And Mike, what we're talking about, we just spun into what's the solution here? 14 teams, 16 teams, no committee, use computers.
I have so much here.
And there was a super chat that slipped by while you were.
I do want to get to those. This one right here.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler. Tyler just texted me, said he's going to listen to Eurocheck. So Tyler, you listen to Eurocheck. And then let us know what he says. $10 on Notre Dame not making would have netted you $20,000. I don't think that's how that works. Is it plus 2,000 odds? Is that how that math works?
I'm not a bettor, so
if that's the case, that's crazy.
I'm a turkey leg eater and not a bettor, so I don't know.
Kyle texted me and said so I'm assuming that a lot of you guys are just watching us and not the ESPN things, so you don't need to watch them. We'll let you know when they're said. Eurocheck said they rewatched the game. I'm gonna just let Kyle know. Keep it coming.
They rewatched the game.
Trying to talk themselves into Notre Dame and Miami, apparently. I really have so much to. I have so many thoughts. Drago, thank you for the super chat. Is that really that would be a hell of a bet? Like I feel like you shouldn't be able to bet on that, but and then the whole group of 5 teams in, that's a whole different
maybe the
discussion.
guys of the committee room made some money.
Probably. Tim 1999, but like why you would even bet on that when it's such a subjective thing like that's crazy. $10 super chat from Tim. Thank you. He says Notre Dame should have took that 13th game Vanderbilt was looking for. I mean, that was a cute idea, but I mean, that wouldn't have been like an official game, right? That would have been like a scrimmage. Like to what it like?
Well,
would the CFP even looked at that? I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, the thing is, Mike, and it's different rules with the 12 team versus the 4 team. They've rejiggered things here, but the thing was back in the 4-team playoff, Notre Dame and others that didn't play in a conference championship game were penalized for not having a 13th data point. Now they're saying, well, if you lose, the 13th data point doesn't matter. Back then it did. Now it doesn't.
Yeah, those championship games mattered when it was 4-team. They're just so dumb. Eric, let me get your thoughts on this. Tim, thank you again for the $10 super chat. Skip the bowl. Don't risk. This actually is not what I was wanting to pull. I want to get to that. Do you think that this means anything for Notre Dame joining a conference? Drago says again, thank you for the 2. They're trying to force Notre Dame to a conference. To me, I don't think this says anything about Notre Dame needing to join a conference. I don't.
If they had to join one, it would be the ACC, which is
hell no.
Yeah,
hell no. If I'm Notre Dame, I hate the ACC. Get out of that contract. Get rid of those 5 games. They're not doing much for Notre Dame, anyways. Like,
well, it's for the basketball teams and the other teams.
Screw them. Notre Dame brings in the money. I'm joking.
Yeah, but I, to seriously answer the question, I don't think that that's helpful. I do think that Notre Dame not being in a conference made it easier. They felt like they'd get less pushback from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
There would be less outrage, that this was a scenario where there'd be the least outrage. I mean, there were times when Boo Corrigan was on the committee and NC State was mysteriously in the top 25 beyond what you would think that they should be. And the thing was, Boo was excused from the room. You have to be recused if they're talking about your team, but I think they didn't want to disappoint him. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to find some rationale for this happening and what the answer could be, but I don't think joining a conference is the reason. There are reasons to join a conference. This isn't one of them.
Eric, college football, we change everything like this in college football. It's like, oh, we don't like that Boise State and Arizona State got first round byes. Let's get rid of that real quick. Like, what you don't want to make a hasty decision that you can't. If you join a conference, there's no going back.
Right.
I mean, that's going to be very difficult to get out. I feel like maybe unless they could get in, to the ACC or Big Ten for a couple of years and get themselves out. Like, if they could do that, then sure, maybe, but don't commit just when you know the sport is going to change. $2 from Maypatch says everyone who lost dropped except Bama. Have you seen that final top 25, Eric? Is that not coming out
I
yet?
haven't. I don't know that they published it yet. I've been queuing for it, and I usually get an email with it.
Yeah.
And I have not gotten the email, and it's not shown up anywhere. So they may have decided they're not going to release the rest of it until later and just do their interviews and so forth. They figure people don't care who's number 17.
I want to know what they did with BYU. $5 from Make It Real JPR. If Notre Dame had lost to 2 unranked teams midseason, then claimed a 3-point victory over a ranked team from week 1, then get the F out. Chorus would be deafening.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Let's say Miami and Notre Dame for some reason weren't able to play that game this year, and Miami had to play.
That's such a what if, though, Eric.
No. But I'm just saying. Let this play out. Let this hypothetical play out. This is why I'm talking about the head-to-head versus the whole resume. Let's say Miami had to play they had to play Tulane instead and beat Tulane. No, let's not make it Tulane. Let's make it Boise. That they played Boise, a team that was in the playoff last year. Beat Boise. Then you look at Miami's resume. They lost to 2 unranked teams and beat no ranked teams. So what's the difference between them and Virginia? Because that's Virginia's resume. What's the difference between Miami and Virginia? Miami has better metrics. I mean, when you look at them play and you look at their statistics, they're a better team than Virginia. But in terms of resume, that the Notre Dame game is what saved Miami. But I don't think the totality of it made them better. I know that you have felt differently, but if head-to-head wasn't, and I respect the people that say head-to-head, but if you feel like the whole resume plus head-to-head, then I respect that. But again, even Kirk Herbstreit, when he was talking about Georgia or when he was talking about Alabama's win over Georgia, to me, that what they did in the conference championship game undoes that win over Georgia. I mean, it neutralizes it. It doesn't erase it off the resume, but it counts. I mean, and so does the Florida State loss. But it seems like people want to boil it down to one thing, like best win versus best win, or worst losses versus worst losses.
Yeah, or rank or your record versus top 25. Like,
yeah,
there is some things that I feel like are kind of handpicked. I like discussing this with you because you and I see these things a little bit differently. You bring up the rushing offense. I don't give a rat's ass about the rushing offense. You could have 0 yards on offense, but score a bunch of special teams touchdowns. Are you winning the football games? Like the analytics,
right?
All these things.
I agree.
I view these things a little bit differently, but it's so the head-to-head should be the number one thing, and like that settles tiebreaker. Like the analytics and whatnot should settle if you didn't have the head-to-head, but then it's really subjective. Like I keep saying, like, how do you weigh the horrible unranked losses for Miami versus that head-to-head?
Yeah.
And then like you view Notre Dame's, losses to 2 playoff teams by 4 points. Like how do you do that? And considering it was the first 2 weeks of the season, it's very difficult. So
losing to 2 teams in a conference that's champion isn't even in the playoff.
I thought I'm glad you brought that up. If anything, Duke winning it kind of shows how big of a farce the ACC is. That this is who's repping you, and Miami, like you lost to teams in this playoff. Like you lost to teams in that conference that were unranked. Like you lost to middle of the road ACC teams.
And I saw somebody bring up, yeah, but SMU was in the playoff last year.
Also last year,
Penn State. You get credit for beating Penn State because they were in the playoff last year. The Notre Dame should get extra credit for beating Boise. They were last year.
Justin, thank you for the 5. For me, it's you can argue Notre Dame versus Bama. You can argue Notre Dame versus Miami. I think this is a Notre Dame versus Miami thing. And I get why Notre Dame or they put Miami in because of the head-to-head, but it is the way that they went about this. Horka, I see Horka's back. Let me pop this up on the screen. Matt Fortuna tweeted this. This is a quote from Reese Davis talking to Hunter Yurachek. So you're telling me that head-to-head never really came up till they were ranked side by side. That seems to be different from the process of ordering and rankings the teams that you guys go through. And then Matt Freeman tweeted, Hunter Yurachek basically just said, if BYU didn't get blown out in the Big 12 title game, then Notre Dame would have likely made the playoff. Tyler, is that what you heard too?
Yeah. So I just listened to all of that. Basically, remember when I was making fun of the word buffer all week last week? That's what it came down to, was BYU slipped out of the 11th spot as that buffer between Notre Dame and Miami. And for some reason, it took this committee seeing Notre Dame and Miami's names right next to each other for the head-to-head to matter all of a sudden, when Hunter Yurachek literally just told us in his little spiel there with Reese Davis, who did a tremendous job grilling him, by the way. If you say, hey, softball's all Tuesdays leading into this thing, no, he wanted answers just as much as anybody else. I just am completely flabbergasted that that's what it took. And I foresaw this too, but for some reason I'm still stunned. It literally took their names being next to each other for the committee to say, yep, Miami's in over Notre Dame, when just on Tuesday, 5 days ago, they said Notre Dame is greater than BYU, who is greater than Miami. Well, BYU loses, and I think Miami
so BYU
Dame,
losing has consequences, but Alabama getting blown out doesn't have
exactly. They didn't move, but BYU did. But I'm just still stuck on this whole thing that they told us on Tuesday. Notre Dame is greater than BYU, who is greater than Miami. Okay, BYU gets blown out again. You can get them out of there. But how does that change the food chain, the pecking order? You said that Notre Dame was better than both of those teams. 2 of those teams didn't play, Miami and Notre Dame. Therefore, you should still think that Notre Dame is better than Miami. But when push came to shove and they saw those 2 names next to each other, they listened to the Twitter people and the social media people and the talking heads all week saying that Miami should be in, because nothing should have changed in their minds about Notre Dame and Miami. They thought that Notre Dame was better all along. They should have still felt that this morning. They got pressured into a decision, and somebody needs to admit that. They did. That's what happened here today.
I just got a text that I have been selected to be a Heisman voter all of a sudden. I've only been one for over 40 years, but I'm getting a scam. All I have to do is put my social security number in there and I could be one.
I was scrolling some of my tweets from yesterday, and like I put out results. This was before the Big 12 or the Big 10 championship game. I was like, results have been favorable for Notre Dame, not out of the woods completely, but looking good. I got roasted. Everybody was like, what do you mean, Mike? We're obviously in. Not a lock.
Well, Tyler James roasted me because earlier in the season, I thought I had faith that the committee would do the right things and have the logic. And Tyler was right. They just made the rules up as they went along.
I got into it with a guy who was like, they're going to drop Alabama. And I was like, why do you think that? They can do whatever. I mean, like, I think that they should, but how the hell do you know what the committee's going to do? That's why gambling on what the committee is going to do is ridiculous, because, like, I mean, what Eric said earlier, maybe the committee was betting some of those things. Goodness gracious. I don't know.
And, like, all year, I think, Mike, you wisely never got to the point of saying Notre Dame is a lock. You've had this thing, and once you lose your second game, then you leave it up to chance.
That's been my shtick all year, and I was freaking right.
You were right.
But I was also wrong. I was like 80%. If Notre Dame wins out, I'm like 80 to 90% sure. But I was still wrong, but I was a lot more right than the 100% they're a lock people.
Even the playoff predictor, the All-State, the ESPN thing, right? It had 85% with the BYU loss. It had 85%. So this is that 15% of human subjectivity. And that's what I based I wrote a column on Friday after Pete Bevacqua went on the Pat McAfee show. And look, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I was right. He said in that interview, this is between Notre Dame and Alabama. Notre Dame and Alabama. He kept saying Notre Dame and Alabama. And I wrote a column and I said, Pete, I respect your reasoning and you're trying to set a narrative, and it was a strong one. But guess what? This came down to Notre Dame and Miami. This didn't come down to Notre Dame and Alabama. And you can argue that it should have come down to Notre Dame and Alabama or Miami and Alabama, and the Alabama should be out. But guess what? What I wrote on Friday is true. It came down to Notre Dame and Alabama, and the humans in the room. Oh, but I don't know if you guys saw this, if you mentioned this on the show yet. Hunter Yurachek literally told the committee within the last 24 hours, I guess, or maybe the last 48, whatever. He said, go back and watch Notre Dame versus Miami. He had everyone on the committee go back and watch the game. So, like, and you can do whatever you want as the committee chair, I guess, but, like, he planted a seed in their minds, like, hey, this happened. That's what that was. It was a planting of a seed.
Yeah, and he probably had them turn it off at halftime because Miami was in control of that game. Early on, and the Notre Dame snuck their way in late, but still, like, that was a 24-24 game. Man. Let's go through some super chats. Overshadow Sean, Tyler Buckner will be remembered forever. I mean, listen, Buckner screwed up on the PAT. He did. But then like also the ref who we don't know his name, right? Or I don't know his name, but missed the Donovan Heinisch holding call. Like he will be remembered forever. Malachi Tony's one-handed catch will be like, there's a lot. You can't pin this all on Buckner, but I am pushing back on the people who say you can't blame this on Buckner at all. He's a part of it. Like he is, but also the committee's farce here is a part of it. Like there's a lot of different parts to this puzzle. And yes, Buckner dropped the PAT. Like that's part of it, but it's not all of it.
You also don't know how Notre Dame's season's going to go if it wins that Texas A&M game. Like that was 3 months ago. And a big reason for Notre Dame winning 10 games in a row by 10 plus points in all of them was because they were 0-2 and they were looking at that record and said, we have to do this. You don't know if Notre Dame's going to lose to probably USC is the only team they could have, but any one of those games could have gone differently had Notre Dame not been like, that's what we've applauded Notre Dame for the last 2 seasons is when they've been in these elimination games, they've been so good. If they were 1-1 with the win over Texas A&M, those wouldn't have been elimination games and they could have lost another game and they could have been out because of that. But having a win over A&M, maybe that would have mattered in the end. It's so hypothetical.
Yeah.
Like I don't even want to go back to that A&M game or the Miami game because like, who knows?
Yeah. Eric, do you have any sense of like what the fallout from this could be? Like doom and gloom. Do you think that like, I mean, this could impact, and I'm asking a question, Eric, the answer can be flat out. Like, do you think this could impact like Marcus Freeman and how he views Notre Dame? Like, what do you think the fallout is for this for Notre Dame? Like, I just had a recruit parent text me, yikes. Like what could that fallout be from a Notre Dame perspective? Like, how do they move forward? Do they skip a bowl game? I think it was Iowa State and Kansas State already skipped bowl games. Like, no, if you're Notre Dame, do you want to go play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl?
I think you would play BYU too.
I would play that game.
Okay. I have my answer to all those is somewhat similar. One thing is you kind of have to look at what Marcus's mission statement is for the program. And it's choose hard, and it's everything worth having is on the other side of hard, and struggle is necessary. So if he bails on a bowl game, which he won't, you're sending an opposite message that when you get screwed, then you go take your ball and you go home and you pout. I think Notre Dame goes and plays in the game. Now, if Jeremiah Love doesn't want to play in the game, if you have some people like that opt out, I'm not against that. You know, Jeremiah Love has a future of being a top 5 draft choice. If he doesn't want to play against BYU, you could have Jadarian Price play and Aeneas Williams. But I do think Notre Dame needs to go play in that game. You also have a new playoff format on the horizon. And if it does expand to 16 games, yeah, the team 17 is going to be pissed off. But you know what? If you are 16 versus 17, you're not going to win a national championship anyways. If you're on the cut line at 14, 15, 16, you're not a team that's going to win it. You may win a playoff game, but you're not going to win a national championship if you're that far down in the rankings, unless you had a crazy injury and you're getting. See, Notre Dame was extra dangerous because they were getting Schrouth back, Rubio back, Greathouse back, Burnett back, possibly Jagaza back. So this could actually be a much better version of Notre Dame than what played in the Miami game, and certainly what played in some of the other games. You would have probably your best version of Notre Dame. Tay Johnson back. You'd have your best version of Notre Dame playing in the playoff.
I mean, you'd had a Notre Dame team that was favored over literally every team that is in this field except for the 2 teams that played for the Big Ten championship last night, and those are the top 2 teams in this entire bracket. That's what, if you look at the advanced models, the odds makers who set point spreads for hypothetical games, Notre Dame was literally a favorite over every single team in this thing, including Alabama, including Miami, and you don't get to see them play in this. And to y'all's point, I mean, thank you for mentioning Jeremiah Love, because I think we have seen his last game in a Notre Dame uniform. I can pretty confidently say that.
Yeah. Bama
Unless
opens
he
up.
just runs for 66 yards to get the record and then runs out of the game. Just has one carry and then leaves.
Bama is
do
a
that
point.
on one carry.
Bama's a 1.5 favorite on the road against Oklahoma. A&M 4.5 point favorites at home against Miami. Ole Miss, oh God. Ole Miss 17.5 point favorite against Tulane, and Oregon versus James Madison 21.5. I feel like they're going to do something, like, especially if Ole Miss and Oregon just beat the doors off of those two. Like, if those, sorry, I was reading text. If Ole Miss and Oregon beat the doors off those two teams, I wouldn't be surprised if the playoff, like, if we're continuing on with 12 teams, the playoff committee people like reevaluate that, because that would be a disaster if you have this great Notre Dame team sitting at home when you have Tulane and James Madison, and it is what it is. Now, the biggest thing that screwed Notre Dame here was the ACC tiebreaker rules. Because if it's Miami and Virginia and Miami wins that game, we're good here. But instead, you have James Madison stealing that spot. Now, look, like I've been saying, you just win your games, Notre Dame. You don't have to deal with this. But that did screw Notre Dame. Like, that Miami could have just gotten the ACC route.
It did, but
hold on. If Virginia beats Miami, then Miami's got a third loss. Like, maybe the committee penalizes Miami for a third loss, like, or maybe they don't, but
anyways, didn't penalize Alabama for a third loss.
They did not.
There's a lot of big super chats.
Although I do understand for Bama specifically, they beat Georgia on the road. Georgia got the best of them this time, but anyways, my issue's not with Notre Dame, Bama. My issue is Notre Dame, Miami, and how the committee ranked them.
I don't know, because I do have an issue with the Alabama thing, because BYU lost by the margin that they did, and they dropped, but Alabama lost.
Did they drop, Tyler? We cannot find the top 25.
Yeah.
Like, what did BYU? Obviously, Miami moved ahead of them.
Well, Hunter Yurachek implied that.
Okay. Like, obviously, they dropped at least one spot, but I haven't seen, like, the top 25 yet.
Yeah, because Notre Dame was...
Because it's a secret now.
Notre Dame was 11 and BYU was 12, which means they both dropped a spot.
Yeah.
Based on what it was on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I could see the argument.
Notre Dame
not pushing
burnt
back.
their
Here's the thing, like,
and that's why they dropped.
Hunter Yurachek's reasoning was seeing Notre Dame and Miami next to each other, right? And that's when they had the gall to make the flip. If Alabama would have been punished for losing the way that they did in the SEC championship game, which they were not, they stood pat at 9. If Alabama would have been punished, they would have been 10. Notre Dame moves up the spot, right? Because they're directly behind Alabama. And then you have that buffer again. But, like, BYU can be the buffer, but Alabama can't be the buffer for Notre Dame and Miami.
Well, I think
would Miami have gone up to 9 and Alabama been 10? Like, they didn't.
I think get rid of the conference championship games. If there's no consequence for playing in there and there's only a benefit for playing in there, then get rid of them. And maybe the ACC has to say in the future, you know what? We don't play all the same teams. These schedules aren't equal. And so if we would be left, make the rule now, our highest ranked team will be in if there's only one team that's in. That way the tiebreakers don't screw you. Because Miami is the best team in the ACC, but they didn't play Duke or Virginia, and they lost to 2 teams that weren't good enough to be in the ACC championship game.
You should be able to forfeit championship spots if, like, Alabama
would need to play in it. Yeah, if you don't need to play in it, why?
I know Alabama still got in, but, like, they could have just said, "No, we're good. Just put us in." Because they made a fool of themselves yesterday. I watched that whole game. They looked terrible, and they stood in the same ranking spot as they did going in. And, like, I get it. They won the league. Technically, they were at the top of the standings going into that game. They wore the home jerseys in that game, but, like, they didn't belong on the same field as Georgia. I don't think anyone thinks they're going to win the national championship now, and they get a shot to. It's
yeah.
If I were Alabama, I would have been like, "Hey, we already beat these guys And I think we're in the playoff field right now. So can we just not play? Because they played embarrassing brand of football yesterday. They did.
Yeah.
And they're in this thing.
Yeah, and all the different data points, the eye test has to be considered, right? And like Notre Dame.
What did the eye test tell you about Alabama yesterday? I mean, geez.
I don't know if this is accurate, but it looks accurate to me. David's got his final rank or the final rankings from CFP up. Notre Dame at 11, BYU 12, Texas 13, Vandy 14. All right, let's go through some super chats. Really appreciate all the support, guys. K-Way for real, $10 says, unfortunately, SEC is king in college football. When you couple that with ESPN smear campaign and propaganda for 2 weeks straight, this is the result. We have to be better in September. Miami and Bama will lose first round. Okay.
I mean, Notre Dame was good in those games, and I think that was part of their resume was like, and I said it last week that I don't think that Notre Dame was loud enough about what it was loud about early in the season, and that you didn't hear a lot of the, hey, we lost to these two teams by a combined 4 points. They're 2 of the 12 best teams in the country. But I don't know. Hindsight's 2020 on what Notre Dame should have been saying going into this. And yeah, maybe they should have been better. Win one of those games and you're in. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty easy.
How much, Tyler, do you think the Twitterverse and ESPN, and they're two different things, influence the committee? So let's do those one at a time.
A lot. I said it on the Six Pack show that I've never done jury duty, but when you're on a big case, right? Like they say you can't call people or text people or read the clippings about all this, right? These committee members, they heard it from everyone in the last week that Miami should be in over Notre Dame. They did. How could you not?
Have you been subjected to a jury? Have you had to face the jury?
Well, I'm going to plead the fifth on this one. You can go back and watch the Six Pack show. I don't want too many public remarks from me on this. We can text offline.
All right. Ashton, I missed a super chat. It says Bama stays in front of Notre Dame, but BYU moves behind Miami. Yeah, I mean, they moved the goalposts. They set the goalposts of what they – my prediction of, like, when we did that article on Friday, I thought it was going to stay the exact same. Bama 9, Notre Dame 10, BYU 11, Miami 12. Don't penalize the conference championship losers. I also thought both games would be competitive. So I was like, don't touch them. And then Notre Dame's in the 10-7 game getting a rematch against A&M. But I guess BYU getting blown out was the difference maker. So BYU getting blown out, they move. Bama gets blown out, they don't move. They did beat Georgia, though, earlier in the year. So it's complicated. It's not easy, but again, you moved the goalpost. You said it. You said, this is how we view Notre Dame and Miami, and then you change it because they're next to each other?
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
That's the ultimate moving of the goalpost. There's goalposts moving in the way that Alabama and BYU lost, which was pretty much the same way, but you didn't penalize them the same way. And then there's goalposts moving with the Notre Dame-Miami sentiment that because they're next to each other, that's when head-to-head matters. I felt it coming. I really did. But
Notre Dame's kickers can't even kick it when the goalposts are moving.
Let's go to some of these big boy super chats. Pilney 35. It's always good to see a familiar name. The $20. This makes the Miami game in South Bend next year far more of a statement game. Yeah, that's going to be a big one.
When is that game? It's not even.
Someone said November, I think.
That would be perfect for it to be a November game.
If this guy's right, circle November 7th. If that's what it is, maybe that's what he's saying. I don't know. I don't know if we have that. I don't know if that's something you could look up when that game is supposed to be. But Pilney, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll be shocked if game day is not there for that one. So Pilney, thank you for the $20 super chat. And then another $20 from Pilney says Miami next year will be a revenge payback. I thought that said Peacock game, a revenge Peacock game. Could you imagine if they put Notre Dame Miami on Peacock? Marcus Freeman will have Notre Dame hang 70 on Miami next year, and South Bend starters will stay in and play the whole game until they get to 70. Marcus doesn't strike me as a vindictive guy like that, but that would, I mean, they put up 70. You can't complain. That'd be pretty cool.
You had asked earlier, Mike, about the fallout from this. I do think, and you mentioned a recruit's parent saying yikes, and there is a status to just being in the playoff. Like for Vanderbilt, just being in there and not necessarily winning a game, I think would be huge for their program. You think about what a cliff there is between being in the playoff now and being in a bowl game. Before, you at least had, a 14 playoff. There's still some pretty good bowl games, but Notre Dame's going to have opt-outs. So will BYU. So will whoever they play in their Pop-Tarts bowl game. That's where I assume that they're going to end up in Orlando, unless the Pop-Tarts bowl snubs them.
Yeah, Pop-Tarts versus BYU. Is that in Orlando or Jacksonville? The Pop-Tarts.
It's game? Orlando.
Okay. Tweet from Tyler James, our esteemed colleague. He, and again, Pilney, thank you for all the support. Yeah, I know it's like raged support, but I do appreciate it. Notre Dame dropped 2 CFP ranking spots following a 49-20 win at Stanford and no 13th game. Alabama gained 1 spot following a 27-20 win at Auburn and a 28-7 loss to Georgia. Notre Dame was penalized for a 27-24 loss at Miami in week 1. Bama's 31-17 loss to FSU in week 1 did not matter.
Okay, we do have the committee rankings all the way through 25 now.
Okay.
Notre Dame is 11, BYU 12.
Yeah, I popped it up on the screen.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Okay, yeah. So they just dropped BYU a spot. Okay.
And Virginia only dropped a couple of spots, losing.
They're down to 20.
Duke. They're down to 19.
19. Okay. All right. Continue on reading some super chats here. Again, appreciate all the support. Ja Hoops with $5 says ESPN wants to artificially create the Notre Dame Miami rivalry, with means college game day coming from Miami and Notre Dame next year. If ESPN did what they did today to artificially create the rivalry, that would be a little weird, and I don't think, but
Notre Dame is the only idle team that dropped in the whole top 25. They're the only idle team that dropped.
Unbelievable.
Only idle team.
Nathan, $5 super chat says all of the ESPN staff argue against Notre Dame. There was no way they'd let them in. Bama is in because of SEC bias. BYU blown out and drops. Bama blown out.
Here's the thing with all the ESPN stuff. Like if ESPN knew what was good for it, which it does, Notre Dame would be in this thing. Jeremiah Love, Marcus Freeman.
That was a part of Tyler. Sorry, not to cut you off, but like all of the Notre Dame is a lock because of TV ratings. Of course, they're going to put Notre Dame in TV ratings.
But
do you know Notre Dame wasn't even in the top 10 of TV ratings? They weren't even in the top 10.
That's true.
But Notre Dame is not a TV partner of ESPN.
I think they just calculated.
They would love to. I mean,
I think the rankings that Mike's talking about, they just calculated was the viewership across whatever channel you were on, right? Or were those only
No. But what I was saying was ESPN, what's good for ESPN is what's good for their TV partners, not necessarily Notre Dame. That's what my point was. Yeah, not that those are flawed rankings or whatever, or didn't.
Here's one thing I do agree with the Notre Dame fans on is, like, I think people would be more excited to see Jeremiah Love, Marcus Freeman, those gold helmets in a playoff game than this Miami team, to be completely honest with you. Like, Carson Beck doesn't move the needle like Jeremiah Love, Mario Cristobal, Marcus Freeman. It's not close. I know it's not about that, but when fans try to make it about that, when they bring in their biases and conspiracies and all that, like Notre Dame should be in if you want eyeballs, to me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean that Notre Dame was the only idle team to lose their spot. Everybody else that moved. There were a couple teams that moved up, Arizona and Michigan, to take Virginia's place, but they stayed in the same order. They didn't hop one another. Notre Dame is the only team where the committee said, we got
jumped by an idle team.
Yeah, they got jumped by an idle team.
It's crazy. And
It's
the
very
fact that it's a
crazy.
different committee every year or whatever, like I thought that they would kind of do the same thing as last year, like.
Well, there's
But
some overlap, but they are always replacing a few committee members, rotating them on.
I don't
Remember
know.
early on, like Tyrone Willingham and Condoleezza Rice were on the committee. Why don't we call them up and see what they think about this?
All right. Pilney, $10 super chat. I think this solidifies the team and makes them play angrier than they already do. Tyler, do you have thoughts on opt-outs? Like who you this is probably not even something you thought about, but
Yeah,
putting you on the
it's
spot,
not
like,
something
okay,
I've thought about, but
go ahead. Think about it out loud. I got to do something on the side.
yeah, I said a couple minutes ago that Jeremiah Loves played his last game in a Notre Dame uniform. I firmly stand by that. Quite frankly, I think if Jadarian Price's mind is let's go to the NFL, I could see him opting out of this game.
And he's a top 50 prospect now.
Yeah, I think he's going to the NFL. Now he could have a cool chance to be a Notre Dame starter, which I think would be the first time ever because Jeremiah Love has some crazy games started streak going back to the beginning of last season. So he could have that opportunity, but also you're a running back who's about to go to the NFL. That is, look at Kyron Williams, like that is opt-out central. So those two guys, who are some of the other NFL prospects that we should be
Well,
thinking about?
I don't think Rubio risks coming back from an injury, but you never know with him. He's pretty crazy. But if Shrouth is going to go to the NFL, I don't think he comes back. I don't think it's worth bringing Jagaza back for a bowl game. So they're different kinds of opt-outs.
Could you see a star underclassman?
Yeah.
Skip it. Who's has to return next year? Could you see him?
Like Leonard Moore? I don't think he would skip it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's the DeMarcus Freeman culture for any of the guys to do that.
I agree.
Like, we had somebody on our board, someone that I interact with all the time on our board, saying CJ Carr shouldn't play in this bowl game, and I just don't think that's the Marcus Freeman Notre Dame way. Like he's coming back, he's your starter next year. There's a game to play in 2025. I see CJ Carr playing that game, whether it's for Pop-Tarts or Cheez-Its or mayonnaise. CJ Carr's playing in that game.
And all three combined.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts and mayonnaise.
You know what I want to do right now, boys, is I just want to, go yell and scream in a corner and then put on some home field apparel. Because no one, if you're going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl, you're going to need to be swagged out in some fresh new Notre Dame gear. But in all seriousness, holiday season is right around the corner here. So if you're scrambling to, get some gifts for some folks, Homefield does have a huge lineup of apparel for teams across the country. So if you got that Akron grad in your life to, ETSU, and of course, like get yourself some Notre Dame gear for the holidays, and then, get that aunt who went to Old Dominion, you can get her some stuff too. So go to Homefield, your one-stop shop for holiday shopping. Check out their Notre Dame line. And again, they have a massive lineup of schools from across the country. Hoodies, crew necks, tees, bomber jackets, hats, you name it. Homefieldapparel.com. Again, homefieldapparel.com. Check it out, find your favorite design, and get ready to rep your Notre Dame gear in style.
Texas and Michigan in the Citrus Bowl, Tyler.
Woo. Is that also Orlando? Is there any bowl games that are not in Orlando?
South Florida is playing in Orlando. They're in the Cure Bowl in Orlando.
I looked
yes,
at that.
Every bowl game is in Orlando.
It was like a Wednesday.
It's not official Pop-Tarts, right? But it's leaning that way.
Yeah, I was just reading.
It's not official yet.
What Jack and Kyle have been saying. So I guess the Pop-Tarts is the best non-playoff bowl. Is that what that means? Like, is that
the best one available to Notre Dame?
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I loved when winning the Rose Bowl meant something. Like now it's just like, oh yeah, you're the Rose Bowl champion, but it's just a quarterfinal game or whatever. Like it doesn't really, quarterfinal. It doesn't matter. But whatever. It is what it is. Rich says, We should have beat Miami and or slash A&M. We had the balls to schedule them, but lose to them both. And you put your fate in other hands. The real problem with the CFP is how you can get to 2 group of 5 teams. I mean, do you think this is the new thing that they would avoid this next time? So it's not the 5 highest ranked conference champs? Because Eric, remember when I said this months ago? Maybe not months plural, but at least like 7 weeks ago. Like,
well,
we get to this scenario.
What's being debated in the 16-team format, there are really 2 schools of thought. Still 5 conference champs, so you possibly could have this scenario if the ACC poops on itself. And then the 11 best teams beyond that, regardless of conference, regardless of group of 5. So if the group of 5 isn't one of the best, well, they would have a group of 6, whatever. So you'd still have one of them represented, but you would, it would be rare to have 2 of them in a 16-team playoff. The other is guaranteeing spots to conferences. So you would have 4 Big Ten spots, 4 SEC spots.
Does anyone else hate that?
I hate it.
Yeah.
Because the relative strengths of conference and the relative strengths at the top of conferences changes from year to year.
Yeah.
So to sit there and lock in, you may be screwing yourself out if you're the SEC or the Big Ten in a certain year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, it's silly.
Rich, thank you for the 10. Miguel, fair question here. Do you gentlemen think we get a top 10 class for 27, missing the playoffs? Now, I think yes, but how does this impact recruiting is kind of like the bigger question that I have not spent a second thinking about, because that national championship run, look what it did for 2026 class.
Yeah.
You don't get that. Eric, you made the point earlier, like if Vanderbilt makes the CFP, that's a huge deal, right? Notre Dame doesn't get that opportunity to win a college football playoff game. Like I've always thought in the 12-team format, how you define is this season a success for Notre Dame, the bare minimum is making it and winning the first round game. But I would also hear you out for like just making it is bare minimum. I would understand that. But I think where Notre Dame's at as a program now, you should at least win your first round game and then see what happens from there.
I think they would have beaten Oklahoma.
I think so too.
I really
Tyler
do.
thinks by 2 touchdowns, at least.
And I think Indiana's going to mop the floor with either of those teams. When whoever wins that game is going to get trounced by Indiana.
And Eric, I do want to just maybe the last thing we do is look at the bracket, because we haven't really even talked about the matchups, and just talk as college football fans, because we're still going to watch these games. I think. When is the Pop-Tarts Bowl, by the way? Do we know when that is? I'm officiating a wedding at the end of the month. God, I hope that they don't crossover. Eric, did you say something?
How many weddings do you do a year?
I am a groomsman in I think a best man, or I don't know, in January, and then I have one in December. So just one a year, I think.
But you're officiating.
I am officiating a wedding, which I can't believe that they have
Saturday, December 27th. See, I stalled. Saturday, December 27th at 3:30 ET on ABC from Camping World Stadium.
Camping World Stadium is awful.
Orlando. Yeah, but there's camping. So
I will certainly be at that game. If that's where Notre Dame ends up. But yeah, 27th. I'm pulling for that. Okay. Yeah, but in terms of the 27 class, I just,
I don't think it's going to hurt them, because I think they'll get some residuals from the last playoff. Not only being in it, but winning big games in it. And people believe now that Notre Dame can win big games. That was a threshold that they hadn't crossed. They had gotten into the 14 playoff and got pushed off the stage. And same with the 2012 championship game. They beat Georgia. They beat Penn State. They were competitive against Ohio State. I think that saves them for a year, and then they really do need to make the playoff next year.
Eric, I completely agree with you. When Freeman had that introductory press conference when he was head coach, he said, I'm going to be the lead recruiter for all of our targets. I remember hearing that and be like, what, are you sure, Marcus? Do you know what your job is about to be? Now he's proven himself as a top head coach. He doesn't have to be the lead recruiter anymore. I mean, Notre Dame has established itself as a power in college football, even despite this news today. So they cleared those hurdles. They got their big postseason win that they hadn't had in decades, and they got another one on top of it. So yeah, they have established themselves. But man, could you? I think that it could potentially limit the ceiling. Like if you go back and you make noise this year in this playoff, I mean, are we now talking about the number one class in the country? Like, how does not making it like if
well,
doing
USC
what they did,
had the number one class in the country, and they didn't make it.
USC, there's the geographical component of that, but
Sure.
yeah. Anyways, those are my thoughts. They don't miss the top 10 though.
If you were going to miss the playoff, then you might as well be the first team out of it. And that's what Notre Dame is. I think there's going to be some recruits that are like
pissed off
tugged on the heart for missing the way Notre Dame did. And they're like, I want to be a part of the team that goes in next year and says, all right, screw the committee, screw college football. We're Notre Dame. We'll be back. See you next year in the playoff, and let's do this thing. But to your point, Mike, the preferred option was always getting in this year and running it back right now and just like compounding the momentum, which obviously you can't do because you're not in the playoff this year.
Comment just said, I missed a super chat. I am currently 20 minutes behind on super chats. Like that's the one we're about to get to. So post 20 minutes ago. So I apologize. JA Hoops 10 says it's not the ACC, it's the SEC that must be where the money from the fines for rushing the field go to. It's not the ACC.
I'm not sure.
It's the SEC must be where the money from the fines for rushing the field go to. The SEC gets that money when you rush the field.
Yeah, I don't see how this is relevant right now.
I don't get it, Jaw Hoops, but I like it. I like where your head's at, brother. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for the support earlier in the show as well. Rick with the $10 super chat. Gruden is right. Yeah, apparently I watched the first half or so of Gruden's whole thing about fixing college football. It was a little out there. I thought the logistics would not work. Where it's, I think that might work in this year, but does that work next year? Like, remember last year, the SMU versus Bama debate, it's a lot different than the debate this year because it was so chalk. Like we all expected upsets and everything. It was chalk in November. Next year could look completely different. College football is just a batshit crazy sport. Anyways, Rick says Gruden is right. If conference championships remain, then all teams in the rankings not in a conference championship game have to play, and whoever wins makes it to playoff. Then, I mean, maybe I don't know. That seems a little extreme on an overcorrection. My personal thing that's a little bit out there is cancel the conference championship games, make 1 and 2 in those conferences open the next season. I think that would be cool. But that's a little out there.
That's out there.
It's out there.
I never thought of that.
It's taking a soccer concept. The team who wins the Premier League plays the team who wins the FA Cup, which is the domestic top tournament in England. And then they play the first game of the next season. It's called the Community Shield. So that at least you have something. You could still make that money. So now you'd have Alabama, Georgia to open the next season. I don't know. It's out. It's a little bit out there, but
anyways. I think I love a 16-team field, and you just take the top 16 teams instead of a conference championship. Like college football is run by the Big Ten and the SEC now, right?
Clearly.
Make the teams that finish at the top of their standings play this 15th week, whatever it was, conference championship week, and just have that be like an extra regular season game almost. Everyone plays 13. Some will only play 12, I guess. But just take the top 16 teams, and if you want the money for a conference championship game, make it a cross-conference championship. Like I would have loved to have seen – now, Alabama would have been at the top, I think, instead of Georgia, which I wish – like Georgia playing Ohio State this weekend would have been awesome. Indiana would have felt snubbed, but these conference championship games are stupid at this point. The committee literally told us Alabama losing by 21 in the SEC championship game didn't matter at all. The winner of Ohio State, Indiana got a trophy yesterday, but guess what? They're still 1-2 in the playoff, and none of them mattered except BYU was the only one that, like, if they would have won, they would have been in, and they didn't, and they're out. But Texas Tech, you played that game, you got a trophy, congratulations, you're still number 4. Like, what did these games even mean?
Yeah.
Not a lot, clearly.
Yeah, Rick, thank you. My thought, I've always liked 6 or maybe 7, like mirror what the NFL does. That's kind of what I've liked, but they're never going to bring it down because then I feel like your bowl games are still important then, which now they're pretty dumb. Eric says, thanks for the coverage this season, Go Irish. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat, Eric. It's always good to see you in here.
Anybody named Eric?
$20 from Mike. Thank you very much, Mike. This looks bad for the Notre Dame AD. Oh, for the Notre Dame AD.
Look, I didn't want Notre Dame to do a lot of politicking last week, to be honest, and once they did, the politicking was different from the Notre Dame Miami thing, right? That was the debate for weeks, but Bevacqua got out there and made it about Notre Dame, Alabama. And then Marcus Freeman last night on Fox made it about Notre Dame, Alabama. Anything Bevacqua or Freeman would have said about Notre Dame, Miami in the week leading into this, which, by the way, my column was right. It came down to Notre Dame and Miami. But if Notre Dame would have said anything about that, the head-to-head, they would have made the calls for Miami to be ranked over Notre Dame even louder. Their politicking would have been reverse. It would have helped Miami, honestly. So I like that Notre Dame was quiet. And if you're thinking that Notre Dame should have been louder going into this, I don't think it would have helped, and I don't think it would have mattered.
Heather Dinich has on Twitter her reaction. Some guy on Twitter called you a meatball, Tyler.
I've probably been called a lot worse than that, so I'll take it. I'm kind of hungry. Maybe.
I'm hungry. I would like to eat a meatball right now.
Yeah, I got called a douchebag last night from some guy because I said that Notre Dame still doesn't need to join a conference, and he was a Notre Dame fan. I don't know, but I mean the shoe probably does fit there. Mike, thank you again for the $20 super chat. We have super chats next to read from I don't know how to say it. It's a Ravens fan in his profile picture. Pilney, Edward, you posted a $10 super sticker. I don't see a comment though. Edward, I'll be looking for you in the chats. Austin, and then one that just came in from Melina. YouTube changed to its comments from the username to like an @ or something. So you guys need to go and change your @ Just put something that's easy for me to read because sometimes I have no idea. All right, we're going to bring in Jack Sobel for his reaction to all of this. But first, folks, time to lock in on your Saturday showdowns with BetMGM, whether you're looking to bet the underdog or ride with the favorite. Take your excitements to the next level with the college football odds boost token. Log in to bet your BetMGM account to receive your token, then place a bet on any college football matchup with your activated token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout. Claim your odds boost token and be sure to activate it before placing your bet. The game's about to kick off, so feel the rush and own the moment. BetMGM, make it legendary. Thank you, BetMGM, for sponsoring. Jack Sobel, what's on your mind, brother? In what, an hour? Oh my God, it's 1:49.
Yeah,
a little over an hour after all of this.
A lot is on my mind. I got a potential bowl game story right in front of me. I got Border Showdown to my left. I got Riley Leonard playing as quarterback for the Colts to my right. If y'all didn't see, Daniel Jones got hurt. Anthony Richardson's already hurt. So once the Colts get the ball, Riley is coming in. First reaction is just like, in this business, we're obviously not supposed to be biased, but when you get to know the players and coaches personally, like you obviously root for them as people, and just gutted for Notre Dame missing out on their playoff opportunity. Gutted for Jeremiah Love, who may very well have played his final game in a Notre Dame uniform. It's just, I mean, it sucks. It sucks for a lot of reasons because this Notre Dame team would have easily been in last year's field. There was just not enough chaos. We obviously knew this was a possibility when they lost their first 2 games. The lesson here for Notre Dame is don't lose your first 2 games. It's just kind of the blunt way to put it. But after that happened, Notre Dame needed to A, win out, B, win out convincingly, and C, get help. And it accomplished the 2 things that were well within Notre Dame's control, but did not get enough help from Miami, frankly, who, if they won one of their two ACC losses, would have been in the ACC championship, probably won it and opened up an at-large bid for Notre Dame. Didn't get enough help for Alabama, who inexplicably lost to Oklahoma at home, putting the Sooners in the field. And didn't get enough help from BYU, I guess, which, according to what I believe is a completely nonsensical committee, dropped the Cougars below Miami, giving them an opportunity to consider the head-to-head, which they should have been considering the entire time. And Alabama was not met with the same punishment. So a lot on my mind right now, but that's just kind of the initial thoughts.
Anybody want to chime in?
My initial thoughts are, I started covering Indiana at the very first team in my career, and I can't believe they're the number 1 team in the country, but they deserve it. How's that?
Yep, they 100% deserve it.
I slept on them, man. They're awesome. They are awesome. Those 2 wins at Oregon and then Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game.
When you watch these,
very impressive.
When you watch these games with like the top teams in the country, and we got so accustomed to it with Nick Saban over the years, oftentimes it's not very pretty. Like when you put elite against elite, it can be gutty and grimy and grinded out type of games. And you saw Indiana do that to Ohio State last night in the Big Ten championship game. Ohio State's clearly the most talented team in the country, and Indiana just went in there and said, "Nope, we're going to grind this out." And that to me proves they're for real. Because I was a little bit still on the fence. I know they're better than they were last year, but I was like, are they national championship good? And I think Jack and I, watching that game together last night, we agree, like, yeah, Indiana can win. They're not just the number 1 seed in this thing. They can win the whole thing.
Well, it's two. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
I'm sorry. It was interesting to see Ohio State late in the game decline to go for it on 4th and short against Indiana. It was like, wow. That told the story to me that they didn't have the confidence that they could get a first down against Indiana, a team they had beaten. I actually was at the last time Indiana had beaten Ohio State with Anthony Thompson.
Well, it was a horrible decision by Ohio State to kick that field goal, because what is the upside if you're Ohio State if you make it? The upside is it's a tie game. Fernando Mendoza gets the ball back with 5 minutes left. You're playing for overtime, if that, by kicking the field goal. It was 100% the wrong decision, even with the knowledge that the outcome is he missed the field goal. Wildly impressed with both Indiana's defense, which is fantastic, and Indiana's offense. I think in all the Julian Sain and Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, people are really sleeping on this Ohio State defense. Matt Patricia should win the Broyles Award going away. It has been impenetrable this year. And Indiana scored. I got Miami on the mind for whatever reason. Indiana scored because Fernando Mendoza made some big time throws, and they closed out the game because he made a big time throw after that missed field goal. Just phenomenal performance on both sides.
Hey, Jack, let's try to keep it on Notre Dame subject, huh?
I started it. I got him off track because I'm
teasing him because he said that to me a couple shows ago.
Yeah, no, I deserve that.
I'm just teasing you, buddy.
Hey, we have 3 Heisman voters here. Did Fernando Mendoza win the Heisman Trophy last night?
Please don't vote Diego Pavia. Please, for the love of God, do not vote that.
Well, we're not. I have.
We're not allowed to say what we vote for.
Yeah, we're not allowed to reveal it, but I can say I have submitted my ballot.
I guess we got to seal our lips here, but it was an impressive performance by him last night.
I voted for the AP Players of the Year, and my Heisman ballot will mimic that. I have not turned in the Heisman ballot yet, and I need to tonight. And I have to turn in All-America AP voting tonight as well. But I will say this, just watching what other people are saying about Mendoza, I do think he won the Heisman Trophy last night. They narrowed the window this year so that people couldn't vote early. You couldn't vote until Saturday night at 5:00. And I do think that a lot of people held on to their ballots, as they should have. You should wait till the season's done and then vote for the people, but I think he will. But I also think Jeremiah Love will be in New York. That's my prediction, unless Hunter Yurachek has something to say about it. Once he put Jeremiah Love and Miami's running back side by side.
Man.
The super chat from Lil Wayne says corporate fat cats in the mouse shape the story as the committee stays in ESPN's good graces. They go on ESPN every week. It's rigged. Look, the whole ESPN part of this is whatever. But get rid of the Tuesday night show. Now, I like the Tuesday night show because it gives us some really good content to talk about because we go live after each of them.
Do we have a Tuesday night show this week?
I don't know now.
To be determined. Okay.
I was planning on it because I figured we'll have
the
playoff matchups and everything, but I don't know now, Eric. I mean, I really don't.
You guys don't want to talk about Pop-Tarts, your favorite flavors, and all those things?
Cinnamon sugar.
I think they should go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl for what it's worth. It should be Notre Dame and BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Actually be a good game. At least
no, it would be a fascinating matchup, Bevacqua revenge game. One of the rare bowl games where both starting quarterbacks should play, barring some kind of injury that we don't know about to either Bachmeier or CJ Carr. Obviously, solid chance Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price are unavailable, but Notre Dame has plenty in the running back room behind them.
I think Price should play though. As like a here who's I am. Like here who I am. Like show everybody a little bit more. Like here's what I'm like in a 20 carry game. Like I don't know.
I think Noah Grubb should play. He's already down there. And he's on a roll.
He is.
Yeah,
he is. Lil Wayne, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Eric, you did give me an idea because I don't know what we're going to do for YouTube shows this week. I'm actually going to be in Dallas this week visiting some family. So, so I don't know what we're doing for shows. So let me make sure that I talk about Augie's locker room. And Augie did send me, if you guys didn't know, I got the Steve Angeli signed helmet. The last time Notre Dame won a college football playoff game, Steve Angeli was on the roster, and that's not going to change anytime soon. So Augie's Locker Room, a longtime sponsor of the Blue and Gold YouTube channel, and always has new and unique items right now. There it is. There is the sold out Notre Dame football mini helmet signed by Steve Angeli. You can go get a Joe Montana signed mini helmet, Jerome Bettis, Audric Estime, Tim Brown, Reggie Brooks, Michael Mayer, Jack Kaiser, Rocket, Kyle Hamilton. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Brian Kelly. Anyone want a Brian Kelly signed mini helmet?
I want a Hunter Yurachek signed helmet.
In all seriousness, folks, please do go to augieslockerroom.com. Or if you're in town or driving through, it is 1733 North Ironwood Drive. I don't have the ad read pulled up in front of me, but I believe the number to call is 574-277-6363. Sure is. So go to augieslockerroom.com. Tell Mike Singer from Blue and Gold sent you. See the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890.
I am actually going to go. My grandson, Reed, said he wants to decorate his room in Notre Dame stuff. So I'm going to go to Augie's to find some cool Notre Dame stuff.
Yes. And Eric, tell him that I sent you. I'm eating Smarties left over from Halloween because I have not had anything to eat today. So I'm freaking starving over here. But
is there a Smarties bowl?
The CFP committee room could have used some Smarties. I don't know if the Gaylord Texan had some at the door when they walked in for the debate, but clearly not.
I'd feel a lot better if I knew those guys had been drinking bourbon all night.
That's where they were? I think we're going to the Gaylord this week.
Yeah,
for some big ice thing or something. Okay.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. My mom used to work at that hotel, so.
There you go. Pilney, $10 super chat says Notre Dame is still the biggest news story in college football. Even in this lockout, Notre Dame will dominate the news cycle. Miami will have an early exit. I guess if you're looking glass half full, is that it? I don't know.
This is what I go to with the recruiting thing that we talked about a couple minutes ago. It's like, if you're going to miss it, you might as well be the first team to miss it, have everyone talking about you, have everyone saying you probably should be in. I mean, there's a quote from Greg McElroy a couple minutes ago who said, if Notre Dame was in, and we talked about this earlier as well, they could legit win this thing if Notre Dame got in. And instead they're out. And if you're a recruit who wants to go play football at Notre Dame, make this personal. Like, I think there's a coach that always says, like, make it personal, or even some of the Notre Dame players have been saying this year, like, it's personal for us. This should be personal. You should run it back next year and try to win all your games and try to go win a national championship if you're Notre Dame. That's all you can do.
Jack, hold on, Jack. So your thoughts on this, and then this super chat from Houston, who says the Bulls are a joke and a waste of time. Notre Dame doesn't need the cash. It's a completely different team than the regular season squad. So Jack, let's hear your thoughts on this.
Completely disagree on that, particularly if it's the Pop-Tart Bowl. I think the bowl game is a chance to, like, see what you got in Aeneas Williams and Nolan James if Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price don't play. It's a chance to see what you got in a lot of other players if some of them opt out. And it's just it's a nice reward for the players. Like, people forget even these minor bowl games are fun. Like, the players get treated well, they get swag, they get a bunch of opportunities to have fun during the week. It's like sometimes that's what college football has to be about. Also, like, they get the cash. Any cash is nice if you're a college football team. So I completely disagree with Houston Linehan super chat.
And more practices. I mean,
more practices. That is the thing I was missing. Oh, Riley Leonard, first down on 3rd and 8 on the run.
Hey, there's levels to it though.
Like,
there's levels to the bowl game stuff. Like when Notre Dame went to the Sun Bowl at 9-3, and you knew dang well you weren't going to be in the playoff. That's fun. When you go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl, when you could be going to Norman, Oklahoma to go play a college football playoff game, that's different. The next 2 weeks, these practices are going to suck for Notre Dame. You get the practices, but they're going to suck.
But if you're Marcus Freeman, you use that as motivation to completely kick the living shit out of BYU, which I think is.
And you can use it for developmental time for younger players.
Jack, don't say shit on this show. We don't say shit on this show. I've never dropped an F-bomb on this show either.
Yeah, never.
It was funny because Mike somehow got muted, and I think he was about to drop one. I didn't mute him.
So
Tyler did on accident.
What I was gonna say before the super chat though is, like, you're talking about using this as motivation for next year. I want to kind of call back to the men's lacrosse team when they won their first national championship. Talk to some of those guys. That was like my first big feature assignment on this job, talking to some of the lacrosse players. And the year before that, they had a slow start to the season, really picked it up towards the end. And they told me, like, when they were watching the selection show, like, they hugged the seniors goodbye, and they were like, you can't leave it up to chance again. And they used that as motivation the entire next year, and they won it all. Notre Dame's going to do the same thing, and Notre Dame's going to have a really damn good football team next year. They're going to get CJ Carr back as a second-year starting quarterback. The Heisman race between him and Julian Sane should be fun. Not going to get Love back. Going to have a solid backs. The line is probably going to be better. It has to be healthier. The defense, depending on who you get back, should still be very good. You're definitely getting Leonard Moore back. You're definitely getting Tay Johnson back. You're definitely getting Kingston Viliamalasa back. I think Boubacar Traore should come back, but that's more up for debate, especially since his sack luck kind of regressed to the mean towards the end of the season. But you're certainly going to get a ton of them back. So use this as motivation if you're Marcus Freeman, and no one's going to be better than him at doing that.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get the 2026 schedule announced at some point.
So Tigers Pop says, why would we play that? I'm assuming he's talking about, like, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Like, I think a lot of us are like, we're angry about this. We just want to take our ball and go home and be like, screw you guys. We're going to show you. Like, we got to take a deep breath and think about the bigger picture here. And unless it's like you're getting invited to the backyard barbecue bowl. Like, like you have to take it. Like you go. BYU, I think, would be like, you should play that game 100%. Like, I think that would be it would suck, but also, you got to go play. You got to go play in that game.
I think that the national champion should have to play the Pop-Tart Bowl champion.
Edward had a $10 super chat with no comment, and then also had this. So I really appreciate the support. Edward said Notre Dame's playing like a top 5 team. However, maybe they'll get the offensive O-line working better earlier in the season next year. Running game versus Miami was non-existent. Go Irish. That's the part that stings about it, is the I always talk about, like, what does the committee really value? Is it the head-to-heads? Is it the analytics? Is it the who you lost to? Is it the ranked wins? Is it the eye test? The eye test, I mean, even Notre Dame's biggest haters knows, yeah, Notre Dame would probably beat all these teams right now. That's what really sucks about this. Like, outside the top 4, or even just the top 3, if you want to say Indiana, Ohio State, and Georgia are by far the best, you could argue like Notre Dame's the number 14. After watching that Big 12 championship game, Texas Tech and BYU, like, you might think Notre Dame's the 4th best team in the country right now. So I will let you guys discuss this, and I gotta dip off for a second.
One thing that I think that I would consider if I'm Pete Bevacqua is if I can find a better alternative for Stanford being the every other year end of the season game, I would do it. I don't know that you can, but if you can find a stronger annual opponent than Stanford that give you a little bit more octane in November, I think I would opt out of playing Stanford every year.
Yeah, I mean, the impetus for ranking Alabama ahead of Notre Dame on Tuesday, which kind of set this whole free fall into motion, was Alabama playing Auburn in the Iron Bowl, which is a game that holds prestige. And you can say Auburn was bad and fired its head coach and whatnot, but that's still an opponent that moves the needle more than Stanford, to your point, right, Eric, in the last game of a regular season. So it all felt ominous, didn't it? With the Alabama moving over Notre Dame on Tuesday, that's why I went as far as to predict on Friday, I think Notre Dame's going to be the one that gets snubbed in all of this.
I didn't predict it because I thought the conference championship games would save that scenario from happening if chalk held. That's why I kind of went with it. But then they just proved Tyler James right, that the committee just makes it up as they go along, and I shouldn't have had the faith in them that I did.
It was so sorry. Do you have one more thing, Eric?
No. I'm ready for you to jump in.
No, I think it was completely inexplicable that BYU dropped for losing by 27, but Alabama did not drop, for losing by 21 and rushing for -3 yards the entire game. Yeah. I think the committee typically likes complete teams. Alabama is not a complete team, and they have really stumbled down the stretch. So I just thought that was the most stunned I was when Alabama's name popped up at number 9. At that point, you kind of had a feeling that Miami would be number 10, but Bama at number 9 was shocking to me.
It was shocking to me.
This makes them the only conference championship game loser of the last 2 seasons, and maybe going back even further than that. I haven't checked 2023 and whatnot, to not move after losing, right?
Yeah.
At least the last 2 seasons, they're the only one to not at least move one spot after losing. And I can't get over what Eric said about the idle teams, Notre Dame being the only one to move down. Like, every other team in the CFP rankings that didn't play either moved up or didn't move at all in the CFP rankings. Notre Dame was the only one to move down.
And there were only a couple that moved up. It was Miami and then Arizona and Michigan, because they took Virginia's place, but they stayed in the same sequence. They didn't jump each other. They didn't say, oh, wow, you know what, Arizona, they sat on the couch, is so much better than Michigan did, or whatever it was.
I'm going to get over this the only way that anyone could ever get over this, by the way, guys, and watch some Notre Dame women's basketball that just tipped off 9 minutes ago. So if you want to see Notre Dame win something today, they're up 8-0 at Florida State. But that, they kind of blew a lead the other night as well. So I can't guarantee that this will be good therapy for you, but I'm going to go watch it either way.
Thanks, Horka. All right, it's Tyler Horka. Jack, like, this is what my biggest point was to open the show. Like, I can see all of the different arguments. Like, I get not dropping Bama. I get the Miami head-to-head thing. I understand all of these things. It is for me that I am pissed about what the committee did was you moved the goalpost. You had Notre Dame here. And heck, even on Tuesday when they flip-flop Alabama, we were like trying to theorize, like, this is the weirdest little move that they made. And then I was kind of thinking maybe they were just doing this so that if Bama does lose, they drop them, but they're still in the playoff. And I just did not see this coming. Like, they just completely moved the goalpost. They had Notre Dame in the field every single week except for the last one, and they moved Miami up 2 spots despite not playing in the ACC championship game. So again, I get not dropping Bama out of the field. I get Miami in over Notre Dame because of the head-to-head. I get all of it. It's just you just made it up as you went. You really did. You made it up as you went, and you moved the goalpost at the last second to screw Notre Dame.
Well, the interesting thing
100%.
too is that
Alabama moving ahead of Notre Dame last week when they did was, I think, the epitome of SEC bias. I'm not one to cry SEC bias at everything that happens in college football. Generally, the SEC is the best and deepest conference in the sport, but Alabama, based on the committee's criteria, like, should not have jumped over Notre Dame when they beat Auburn by a touchdown and required Auburn to commit multiple turnovers that weren't really forced. One was a drop by one of their receivers that wound up in Alabama's hands. The other was a fumble by Auburn's best receiver. Ashton Daniels was Auburn's quarterback. All due respect to him, but he's not particularly like good by SEC standards. Notre Dame crushed Ashton Daniels last year on that Stanford team. Auburn couldn't really score all year. They gave Bama a fight. I get that it's the Auburn Bowl. It's a rivalry game. Weird things happen. I get not dropping Alabama for that result, but moving them ahead of Notre Dame was just unbelievable.
Here's where the committee really looks bad, I think, is you look
Thank
at
you, we the people, for the $2 super chat. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
AP poll. Notre Dame 9, Miami 10, Alabama 11. Coaches poll, 9, 10, 11, same order. Football Writers NFF poll, 9, 10, 11 in the same order. All these other places, 9, 10, 11. But this committee thought Notre Dame should be 11 instead of 9. Not everybody sees things the same way, but to have 2 spots difference for Notre Dame, where all those polls, all the people watching the same things, judging the same things, and the committee is the one that sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, we've talked about this. Like, the AP poll has often mirrored the CFP rankings, and I was like, if the CFP uses the AP as a barometer, then that's a sham. But now it's just a sham for a different reason. They did go in opposite direction, but I think that this was the wrong time to do that. Let's see. $5 super chat from Austin. This team is going to be possessed next year. Just another learning experience for Marcus. It should be a pretty solid team next year.
I have confidence in the way Marcus Freeman will handle this, and I think he'll handle it in a good way. Had it been Pat Narduzzi, I mean, they would have, gone, in a fetal position for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
No offense, sure. Pat.
Austin. Yeah, I'm sure Pat's watching this. Austin, thank you for the $5 super chat.
I got quoted from this show on Twitter. So
wait, what?
Yeah, when I mentioned about the movement in, that Notre Dame was the only team that moved down, that they're quoting me from the show. So
who's they?
133 retweets and.
Oh, you're talking about Horkus tweet?
Hang on. Yeah, Horkus tweet.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I saw that too on the site. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. So 133 retweets.
Nata Molina, $5 super chat. Thank you. He says, can Notre Dame leave the ACC agreement? It's only hurting them. Maybe even make an agreement with another conference potentially. I mean,
what good does that do?
Yeah,
I know you were advocating it when you were pissed off earlier.
I don't know about advocating, but
well, you were mad.
I was definitely mad. So if you want Angry Singer, go watch the beginning of the show. I've calmed down a little bit, but yeah, I was pretty pissed.
But you have to look at the big picture, and it's a place to put the basketball teams and the other Olympic sports teams other than the hockey team. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face. And the ACC didn't do this to Notre Dame.
They didn't, but they really did advocate it on social media.
They did. It was Bush League on their part.
I thought so too.
Yeah, the way that they handled it. This is what was funny. The grandson that wants to go to Augie's locker room, he goes, Grandpa, the Notre Dame Miami game was on last night. I watched it. I go, that's a replay. And I explained that they had that on an endless loop on the ACC network. just to kind of, and they probably will keep it on as celebration now. I just think the ACC did some things that you should advocate for Miami, but the way they did it was pretty Bush. I thought.
Nonstop too. Yeah. Nata Molina, yeah, can we leave the Notre Dame or the ACC agreement? The one thing I've said about this in the past, it does help fill out your November schedule when no one wants to play Notre Dame in November.
It's going to be harder and harder to get power teams to play you in November with the 9-game schedules.
Yeah. And you know what? That's the price of independence. You have to live with a terrible November schedule because the ACC is, for lack of a better term, terrible in football the past couple of years. And again, like Miami didn't lose one of those two inexplicable losses. They are in the ACC championship. They probably win that game, and Notre Dame is in right now. It's just where we're at right now.
Yeah. And then, if you don't have USC on the road every other year in November, like that's another knock on your November schedule. So then you even need ACC, that 5-game agreement even more. C. Evans says, $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Sorry if this has already been said, but Notre Dame should decline any bowl invitation. Also, I have to believe there's some draft eligible Notre Dame players that will be staying in South Bend over this. The latter, definitely agree. But we've talked about this. I know the super chat was a little bit ago, but they should accept, unless they just are put in the Birmingham Bowl to play Troy. Like, okay, now let's skip that one. But that's
I'd have to imagine they're an extremely attractive bowl team, both for ratings, and for like the knowledge that the starting quarterback is going to play. I do think, like I said, like you said, Mike, the second half of C. Evans 1992's post, I think there's some merit to that. I think that unfinished business could very much be a what's the word, incentive for players on the who have draft or stay decisions. Tripping over my words here, to come back. I think there are a few players aside from Love and I would argue Price who are both obvious. So not a lot of obvious go decisions for Notre Dame, and not a ton of guys out of eligibility either. They could have a lot of guys back next year.
C. Evans, thank you very much for the 10. Rick Palmer said, "Who do you want to play? BYU." What?
I'm sorry, I just saw the tweet. Fresno State and Miami will play in the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl.
What?
They will play in the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. There's a
who? Fresno State and who?
Miami, Ohio.
Oh,
will play in the Snoop Dogg. Should Notre Dame should they have turned down an invitation to the Snoop Dogg?
Shout out proud Red Hawk and partner of Blue and Gold, Bennett Wise.
Oh my God, that's priceless.
Which Notre Dame might be in the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Yeah. If you can't compete for the national championship, compete for the right to sacrifice and devour a giant humanoid Pop-Tart.
Rick Palmer said, "Who do you want to play? BYU, Texas, or Vandy?" Of that three, I'd say Texas.
Those.
Well, you can't play Texas.
Those other ones.
They're in the Citrus Bowl against.
And Vanderbilt's
Michigan.
Already in a bowl. ReliaQuest Bowl against Iowa. ReliaQuest Bowl against Iowa. I think that's in Tampa.
Correct.
Yeah. So I guess if I
Hannah Doggo's taking it out on Florida State, which had the audacity to beat Alabama, a playoff team.
Folks, I have not said this, so we're an hour and 43 into this show. Please hit the thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. Eric, you've been a trooper here the entire time. Do you need to dip out? I can close the show with Jack if you got to go.
I actually literally have to go, but I've been a good soldier here.
All right, I'm going to let you go. Me and Jack are going to close the show, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, everybody, for showing up. We appreciate you.
All right, thanks, Eric. Folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. I just realized, Eric's got crap to do. And this is, I did not expect the show to go this long. I thought that it was going to be hour 15, and we would be discussing Notre Dame, in the field. I had the graphic pulled up. Jack, I see your text, brother. And it would just be kind of a chalk thing. But Jack's going to be back here. Holy crap, we just got a big boy super chat from Gregory. Jack will be back in a second. Miami, dang, Gregory, thank you. Did you mean to do 100? Very, very much appreciated, Gregory. Miami got rewarded for beating 6-6 FCS Bethune, and Notre Dame got its second loss against A&M. Take these two teams out, and Notre Dame is 10-1, and Miami is 9-2. Should Miami jump Notre Dame for beating Bethune-Cookman? Remember, timing of the game doesn't matter. Jack, can you hear me first of all?
Yes, I can. We've had some technical difficulties, and I also want to thank Gregory for the incredibly generous super chat. That's pretty incredible.
Yes, indeed. So I don't like playing the what if game. Even Eric mentioned started something with a what if you take Notre Dame's out of the Miami schedule. I just think it's kind of counterintuitive to the whole discussion. It's like what's the point? But he ended up bringing it to a Miami versus Virginia debate, or Miami comparing their two resumes. But regardless, I mean Miami's resume is terrible without the Notre Dame game. Like that's just
there's nothing separating Miami from Virginia if you take out the Notre Dame game. 100%.
Yeah, it's obviously quite the big if, but dang, Gregory really appreciates all the support with quite a big boy super chat. W's in the chat for Gregory. Just throw one in there. There you go. All right, let me just continue on. Our Mendoza, not seeing J Love in a uniform one last game is heartbreaking. I can, as a Notre Dame fan, be mad because started 0-2, have to win games early and stop fighting uphill 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it's certainly gutted for Jeremiah, who, if I'm sure he will be advised. He's a competitor. I'm sure he'll want to play one last time. I'm sure he will not want his last image in a Notre Dame uniform to be kind of hobbling around there with a bruised rib. He obviously wasn't 100%, but he will be advised to sit out the bowl game, I would imagine.
Our Mendoza, really appreciate the 10. We the people, $5 super chat, and then I saw this one, this comment. The media cried hard enough this week to get Miami, and why do we have rankings if bad losses versus good losses don't matter? I mean,
I get it, but it's also, Notre Dame didn't really have any great wins.
We have not a great win. Mentioned that the entire show. Notre Dame's
so that was always the problem with losing your first two games if you're Notre Dame, and that like a lot of teams could have survived that. Notre Dame couldn't because it didn't have any more opportunities for real quality wins. Like USC was good. USC certainly wasn't great. I think Oregon showed that when it beat USC by 3 scores in its own house. They were not capable of beating great teams on the road. If that's at USC, maybe it's a different story, but just wasn't enough opportunities out there for quality wins. You had to split your first 2 games to be safe. If you didn't do that, you were leaving it up to getting help, and they didn't get enough help.
Yeah, we the people, thank you. I mean, Notre Dame's second best win after that. I mean, Pitt.
Yeah,
Pitt, which Miami did that too. They went and beat Pitt on the road. So I can't get over this. College football playoff rankings by week. November 4th, Notre Dame 10th, Miami 18th. Then Notre Dame's at the number 9 spot. 3 weeks in a row, there's Miami 15th, 13th, 12th. And then 10th, they move up 2 spots for doing nothing.
Yep.
And in that run, they beat Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pitt. 3 of those teams Notre Dame also beat handily. Again, if you've been watching this entire time, you've heard me say this a million times. I get Notre Dame behind Miami. I do. But it's why the hell did you have that disparity this entire time then? Like, if you loved Miami, I don't know. Or were they just expecting Miami to lose again? Like, everyone thought Miami would lose
that
again.
That might actually be it. Like, I think that they were so down on Miami. They really overreacted to Miami losing to SMU when they put the first rankings out.
Yeah.
And they were so down Miami, and they expected them to lose another game. And to Miami's credit, they very much got it together in the last month of the season. They were playing playoff caliber football, and the committee saw that.
Yeah.
But so did Notre Dame. We should also know.
Yeah. CNAP, thank you for the 10. The only silver lining is maybe the boosters will be pissed off enough to finally wake up the echoes and go on run, because this does not happen to teams that win championships recently.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't know if it's an NIL issue. I don't. I don't think so. I think that Notre Dame's doing well in that area, and their players are being paid, and they're getting top transfer portal guys. Like I think that's not I mean, they just went to the national championship game last year,
Yeah.
and had a chance to win it. So
They had plenty of credibility where that's concerned. I mean, the committee
Yeah.
had always maintained that it thought Notre Dame was a playoff caliber team.
Yep, CNET, appreciate the 10. We the people, I'm just reading these chronologically as they have come in. Why was Notre Dame ranked above Miami for the last month or so? Committee thought Miami is better than Notre Dame. Why change it today? Yeah, I mean, we just really think that they, or at least I do, like they had to pick one team to get moved out. Do you penalize Bama for losing in the SEC championship game and get that outrage? Do you not have Miami in and get the outrage about the head-to-head, or do you move out Notre Dame, who the outrage is? We know that they're better. We know that they're better teams right now. We think that Miami or Notre Dame's probably a top 5 team. All the analytics and whatnot that people always talk about, they had Notre Dame's like a top 5 team. The Sadrin, whatever, had Notre Dame, 3 or 4? You just had to pick what you're most comfortable with the outrage, and they went with Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I get it. Honestly, it makes sense. Is that what they did? I don't know, but trying to rationalize some of their decisions, that's been difficult. Edward, $10 super chat. Game 1 versus Miami, 28 rushing attempts, 93 yards, touchdown, not good enough. Team and offensive line not prepared for that game. Notre Dame defense against A&M, 488 total yards, 360 yards. And if I remember, Marcel Reed was 17 of 37 in that game. So it was really just those chunk passing yards. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look back at those 2 games. And even though, so many people said Notre Dame is a lock, so make it at 10-2, they were not. They were not.
Yeah, looking back, like ran one too many tunnel screens against Miami. They blew a coverage assignment against A&M. They dropped a hold. The refs missed a hold at the other end. They allowed 488 total yards, 360 passing yards, like you said, against A&M. They didn't attack the ball in the air at the end of the first half against Miami. They allowed a final drive for A&M marching down the field, gave up a 4th and 11. I mean, it just sometimes it's the way it goes. They lost a couple of tough games. They didn't have enough opportunities to make up for that.
Edward, really appreciate the super chats. 74 Ohio said Jeremiah Love wasted. Complete effing corruption.
Yeah, not sure how to respond to that.
Corruption. I don't know. Like if it goes that deep, but it's a farce. Like it's like, yeah, I don't know how many times to say the same thing, but it's just how they handled this ranking near at the end with Miami and Notre Dame is ridiculous. And then, your view about what they should have done with Miami and how you should view conference championship games. Like that's the beauty and the frustration about college football. Like, dude, the NFL, you don't like, when's the last time the NFL changed? Like they changed 16 to 17 games and then 6 to 7 teams making it for each conference. It's the only thing they've like changed, but it's not like. Did you just do what I think you did, Jack?
Maybe.
Brain rot ass. But like, like it just is what it is. Like it's very black and white, cookie cutter. Who makes it? And college football is just this big, beautiful mess. We love it, but today you don't. You don't love it. The conferences are just too damn big. You get Ole Miss and Oklahoma just sitting pretty. They don't have to do anything. Like it's wild, dude. This whole thing, like in every year, Jack, it seems like there's some correction based on the outrage of what just happened, right? Like the auto bids, or the auto seeds. Now it's auto bids. And now is it going to be about the 2 group of 5 teams? Like, is that going to be the thing that they get rid of? That they amend a rule for that to not happen and Notre Dame would get in? Like there's going to be something. And I think part of that, Jack, is so like how social media is now. It's so much bigger than what it used to be even just a few years ago, right? Like we have 1,000 people watching right now. That 1,000 people 5 years ago, 6 years ago would not be watching us on YouTube. They still be watching ESPN. So there's just like so many more voices, bigger voices in college football than ever before. And so many more people getting upset, so many other people having takes to influence. Whereas again, 10 years ago or whatever, before, like, I feel like the YouTube bubble, we started doing this at the end of 2020, that we really erupted as a YouTube channel. And I feel like we were among the first, like, especially in the Notre Dame space. No one was really doing YouTube on the Notre Dame beat until we did at Blue and Gold. Like there's just so many more, again, voices in this that are having an impact on this. So anyways, 74 Ohio, thank you for the 5. I think I may have lost my train of thought there, but anyways, ZA ND83, thank you for the $10. Last year of Bama and Miami left out. Last week moving Alabama up was a setup. Yesterday, Ohio State and BYU losses led to a drop. Why not Alabama? Notre Dame's not in a conference, and that's a sticking point. I don't know if
I don't think not being in a conference it had something to do with the outcome, and that Notre Dame didn't have a chance to earn itself an auto bid for losing its first 2 games. That is the tax you have to pay for not being in a conference. Quite frankly, it's the positives of you can earn a bye without playing in a conference championship game.
Sure.
And negatives of you can't earn an auto bid, and that is the trade-off Notre Dame has to make. But I don't think this was any kind of punishment or something for not being in a conference.
Folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this video. I know we don't like the news, but please support our channel by just hitting that thumbs up. It helps out a ton. I agree. I liked these tweets, but just to save them. Mm-hmm. Brooks Austin, who I respect, said today's precedent, Notre Dame, get your butt in a conference. I don't think that's the message here at all. No. I don't. Yes, winning a conference, if Notre Dame was 10-2 and had a chance to play in a conference championship game, then obviously then they're the BYU in that scenario where it's like a win and you're get in. But otherwise, Notre Dame could have been Miami, right? Or have been Oklahoma, like a 2-loss team that's safely. And you just don't know what side of the tiebreakers you're on. I don't think that's the message. I don't think that's the sticking point. I do disagree. Go ahead.
Real quick. I think that this is an example of people often look for corruption when the answer is plainly incompetence, and I think that's what happened with the committee in the cycle.
Just did want to remember Gregory, that super chat about 15 minutes ago, $100. Really appreciate you, Gregory, if you're still here. ZA ND83 says, appreciate you all, been listening all year on to 2026. Go Irish. Hey, still maybe the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I'm guessing we don't have updates on that yet.
We do not. I have tweet notifications on. I am
okay.
Scrolling aggressively, but have not seen anything. I don't see what other option there is. Let me look up the ACC
I got you actually. Oh, okay. Let me look up Pop-Tarts. So Big 12 versus ACC, December 27th. So
yeah.
Obviously Notre Dame has that.
That ACC should be Notre Dame BYU. I'd be very surprised if it's not.
Yeah, which I would not personally mind that. It'll be easier for me to go to.
So the other options, and I'm not saying realistic options, these are every single bowl game that the ACC has a tie into, which as a reminder, Notre Dame is an ACC team as far as bowl games are concerned. That is correct, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the Military Bowl, the Pinstripe Bowl, the Fenway Bowl, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, the Gator Bowl, which I think they prefer not to send teams to the same bowl game twice within a couple of years. The Birmingham Bowl, the Alamo Bowl, and the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and the Holiday Bowl. I have no idea how many of those games already have teams. I know the Pop-Tarts does not. So I would guess that's where they go.
Okay. This is interesting. I'm just reading an article. 11 teams plus Notre Dame are bowl eligible for talking about ACC. Cal is obligated to be placed in a Pac-12 affiliated bowl and already have accepted a bid to the Hawaii Bowl. So there you go. Anthony, thank you for the $5 super chat. Canes fan. All right. I've had to ban about 100 of you guys today, but not you, Anthony. I absolutely believe Miami was put in so it didn't leave an ACC team out. Happy they are in, but the explanation was horrible. I don't think that was the explanation. But damn, if that's the case, man, if that's what they did, like they just needed an ACC team in there for, whatever, like that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, why? Like, is that like unless ESPN really is controlling this over the committee, like that's a little conspiracy-ish to me.
It is conspiracies, and like, sorry if I cut you off. Sorry,
No, please go ahead.
The Juracek was actually asked by Reach Davis, who I know everyone's ripping on ESPN, and often deservedly so, but I will credit Reach Davis for really pressing the issue with Hunter Juracek on ESPN, because he asked some follow-up questions that Juracek did not want to answer, but he asked specifically, was the fact that the ACC could have been completely left out, did that have anything to do with it? He said no. Whether you believe that or not is entirely your prerogative, but he did say no.
Yeah, I stopped believing him after he moved Bama up over Notre Dame because of that gutsy 4th down in the Iron Bowl against a middle-of-the-road Auburn team. Like,
I mean, that was a complete joke. That was just
get the F out of here. But yeah, hey Anthony, appreciate the $5 super chat. Real quick, national championship odds: Ohio State favored, followed by Indiana, Georgia, Oregon, tied with A&M. This basically just looks like the bracket, like the ranking, for the most part, except for Oklahoma plus 6,600, whereas Bama and Miami are plus 2,000 and plus 2,200 respectively. Kind of interesting. Like, yeah, Oklahoma just kind of gets left out of this discussion because of like when they won. Right, they had that nice win over Bama, and they move up so much, and they just kind of got to avoid all of this as a 2-loss team. But
here's a question, Mike. How many teams do you think can win the national championship? I have my answer. I'm curious to hear yours.
I'm probably like 4, maybe 5. Okay, it's the 3 obvious: Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia. And then can you talk yourself into Oregon, A&M, Texas Tech? Ole Miss was in that discussion, but they're out for me.
I would say 4. I would say Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Oregon. The top 3 are obvious. I think Oregon is going to get a receiver or 2 back for the playoff, which is going to be big for them. I think they match up obviously well with James Madison. I think they match up well with Texas Tech. The other 2 teams I would consider are Texas Tech and A&M, but I think A&M's defense, which the committee has been, to its credit, has been low on the entire time. The committee has always said A&M was the worst of the undefeated teams and the worst of now the 1-loss teams, because they do not trust A&M's defense. And if a team can get pressure on Marcel Reed with 4, I don't think A&M can beat that team. Texas Tech has a really good roster, but I think quarterback play can be their downfall. I know Baron Morton is solid, but I was not impressed with him in the Big 12 title game.
Yeah.
So I would say the top 4.
Yeah, I could be talked into Jack, we got an exclusive: Ross Dellinger and Pete Bevacqua.
Oh, wow.
And an exclusive with Yahoo Sports Notre Dame AD, Pete Bevacqua says the Irish are shocked about snub and calls the weekly rankings process an absolute joke and one that gave Notre Dame false hope. Quote from Bevacqua: "We feel like the playoff was stolen from our student athletes." More from Pete: "My feelings and the feelings here are just shock and really the absolute sense of sadness for our student athletes. Overwhelming shock and sadness, like a collective feeling that we were all just punched in the stomach." How about this? Bevacqua was maybe watching our show. He called it a farce. Called for an end to the weekly ranking show, describing them as a farce and saying that they provided false hope to the Irish administrators, fans, and Coach Freeman. There is no explanation that could possibly be given to explain the outcome. As I said to Marcus, one thing is for sure: any rankings or show prior to this last one is an absolute joke and a waste of time. Why put these young student athletes, again, I'm reading Bevacqua's statement to Yahoo's Ross Dellinger, why put these young student athletes through these false emotions just to pull the rug out from underneath them, having not played a game in 2 weeks, and then a group of people in a room shatter their dreams without explanation? We feel like the playoff was stolen from our student athletes. Nothing in there, did he say, was about, I mean, at least so far, was about the Notre Dame versus Miami or the Notre Dame versus Bama. Because again, you can make those cases, but my problem is how they went about this. The committee, if they would have had Notre Dame behind Miami and from the get-go, and then this is the result, you can argue it, but like at least there was that consistency. For me, it was a lack of consistency from this committee. So,
and I completely agree with everything Bevacqua was saying, honestly. And what really gets you is he said that Marcus addressed the team, and this is Bevacqua summing it up. He said Marcus said it perfectly. : Usually there are reasons and answers and explanations, but we don't have one for you with this. This is shocking and upsetting and utter disbelief and sadness for our student athletes who were led to believe since the CFP ranking started of what they needed to do and did everything they were asked to do. And yeah, Notre Dame was a playoff team in every single rankings besides this one, and they did nothing to change that.
Yeah.
And that's what I wrote on blueandgold.com. If anyone wants to check that out, basically the outcome is the outcome. And Notre Dame had no control over that, but the process to get there is a complete joke. It was.
Yeah. Rick Palmer, $5 super chat. We watch social media like Blue and Gold because it is less biased than legacy media like ESPN. I mean, we're kind of legacy since Blue and Gold's been around forever, but
a little bit.
We're kind of like the McDonald's. I'm just joking. But yeah, Rick, I do appreciate it. Like we are super for. There's Notre Dame outlets out there that are like just have blue and gold pom poms all the time. Like if that's what you want, that's out there. But like obviously we have some Notre Dame leans on things. Like you look at Eric's AP poll, like I think that he's been a little too high on Notre Dame at times, but I feel like we are the most fair. Or as like maybe not. I'm not going to say we're the most fair over others, but like we try to be as fair as possible. Like Horka will make bold predictions against Notre Dame and people hate him. And then he's right that Miami is in. And then it's like, all right, like we've been pounding our tables that Notre Dame is not a lock. Notre Dame is not a lock. And we still get people who come in here and are like, yes, they are. If they go 10-2, they're a lock. TV ratings. And like, okay, you're wrong. We're not going to get credit for that, but we're still going to keep telling you exactly what we think, if that's popular or not. Like it's easy to hate on Notre Dame when they're not doing well and then love on Notre Dame like too far if they are going well. Like we're going to be fair. Like we're just going to keep doing that. So Rick,
a wise man told me once, maybe told me or written on his site that a lot of our job as media is like when the fan base is really high, it's our job to be a little bit lower. When the fan base is really low, it's our job to be a little bit higher.
Yep.
Just kind of that, we obviously want Notre Dame to do well, but most of us at least are not Notre Dame fans, and it's our job to tell you guys like we see it.
Yeah, 100%. That's what Loose Emoji always said. The highs are never as high as they seem. The lows are never as low as they seem. That's really a life thing, but specifically like, football, like, just, you just never know what's going to happen there. So, okay. Moving along, Super Saiyan Nick, J Love just posted a picture of him holding up a 1, possibly one more game or year. I mean, I don't know what to make of Jeremiah Love's social media Jeremiah Love's social media posts. I don't know, guys. Like, if he plays for another game, that's one more game than I would have figured. And if he plays for another year, that would be an absolute stunner. But that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. But it would be a surprise. Tweet from the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Things are heating up, and we're not talking about our toaster/trophy in the kitchen. Are you freaking kidding me, Pop-Tarts Bowl? You know what? Tim Hyde, if this clip makes it to you, I've not talked to Tim since he told me he was leaving 6 days before the season. Tim, I do miss you. But I am so happy I am not working with Tim right now because of how much he joked about the Pop-Tarts Bowl for years. And that's all he would joke about for a month. So, Tim, I love you. I miss you, but not right now. Not right now if Notre Dame's going to make it to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So, Super Saiyan Dick, thank you for the 5. B. Larkin, $5 super chat. Is there a fine for declining a bowl game if it's ESPN? I'm declining. Bama didn't move because it wouldn't have fit their narrative. Yeah, look, like this is kind of like a vindictive. You guys screwed us. Like screw you back. Like Notre Dame can't think like that. Notre Dame can't think like that. Unless Pete Bevacqua and Marcus Freeman think like you do, I would be stunned if that is the case.
That's
I
just
really
turning
appreciate it.
down a lot of revenue. And again, like I understand that thought process if you're a team who has a new coach and you're not going to have a roster, you're focused on trying to build a recruiting class. Like Iowa State, Kansas State turned down bowl game, fine. If you're Notre Dame, you're getting a lot of your team back. Sure, injuries can happen, but injuries can happen in practice.
Sure.
You get the practice, you get the development time, you get one last chance for this team to have fun together, which again,
Yeah.
I really think we shouldn't lose sight of that.
Yeah. Justin ND Sniper says meaningless bowl games are not worth it. Meaningless to whom?
Yeah.
To you? Justin, you're going to watch it anyways. You're going to watch it.
And it's going to be fun, and they're probably going to beat BYU if that's who they play, and they're going to eat the Pop-Tart. It's going to be fun.
Still, yeah. Anyways, but B-Lark, I do appreciate the 5. TS Armadillo, $10 super chat. Given our schedule next year, what will it take to be one of the top 4 seeded teams in the playoffs? 12-0 or 11-1, only lost to Miami.
I mean, there are a bunch of 11-1 teams this year who did not get a first round bye. So I'm honestly not sure. It depends on a million factors, none of which we can know right now. 12-0 would obviously be 1 or 2, but
yeah, this is what I've been saying since the 12th team started. If you're 12-0, you're Notre Dame, you're getting a bye. Well, this is kind of amended considering that Notre Dame can get a bye now. If you're 12-0 Notre Dame, you're undefeated, you're a top 4 seed. Done. 11-1, you're hosting. 10-2, maybe you're in, maybe you're not. Cross your fingers and hope. You've taken it out of your hands. This is what we've been saying for a while. So really appreciate the $10 super chat. Morza Hill, again, for this YouTube thing, it's all your @ now. So you change it to a first name or something. It could be easier for me to read. But thank you for the $10 super chat. I was a Notre Dame fan growing up and still cheered for them until they stole the 2001 Fiesta Bowl from Virginia Tech just because they were Irish. Karma's okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for your $10 super chat. I don't know if this is the karma, but if it helps you sleep at night, thank you for your $10 super chat. Richard, $20. Very generous. Thank you. If Notre Dame is not going to play for a national championship game, then they have no argument for how the national championship games play out and play into the postseason rankings. And who makes it in? I totally get why you don't want to, but them's the breaks.
That is certainly a collection of words.
Did he follow up? This was at 2:43, so 5 minutes ago. Is there follow up with maybe a correction? No, I have no idea. If Notre Dame is not going to play for a national championship game, then they have no arguments for how the national championship game plays out and play into the postseason rankings and who makes it in. Totally get. I have no idea.
I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh because that's a very generous super chat.
Yeah, it's very generous.
No idea.
Disrespectful, but I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah.
The part that really cracks me up is them's the breaks.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes you type on a phone, it can be difficult. I
apologize, Richard. If you'd like to clarify, you were more than welcome to.
Jason Love, Jeremiah's dad, tweeted, "So proud of you, son. What a hell of a ride. The greatest of all time, in my opinion, of course." Just tweeted that a minute ago. Again, I would say it's 95%.
I would imagine he has played his last game for Notre Dame.
Yeah. Richard, thank you for the 20, brother. I'll be looking for you. Blantar says, Richard, someone wanted to clarify. Listen, sometimes the chat moves so fast that I can't see everything, but if you send 99 cents, then I definitely will see it pops up on my screen, or I'll just be looking for you, Richard. You don't got to send more. DVB, $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Looks like a sweet fitted in Notre Dame hat. You got there the bill's nice and fly. I like it. Hunter Yurachek is the Arkansas athletic director. Notre Dame handed Arkansas their worst non-SEC loss ever. This was payback from Yurachek. Plain and simple. Do you think it's that plain and simple, Jack?
I do not. I don't think this is any kind of revenge conspiracy. I will say that Hunter Yurachek has looked like a complete deer in the headlights, and nothing he said has made sense throughout this entire process, but I do not see the conspiracy there.
That is a really funny thing that you just said. Let me pop this tweet up on the screen. This is a made-up
don't
quote.
play the don't play the video.
No, there's no video here. It's just a screen grab. This is a made-up quote, but honestly, is it?
Oh, I thought this was the 6-7 video.
Oh God, no. Well, that might be the screen grab from that, but
Yeah,
this guy from Barstool tweeted made-up quote from Hunter Yurchek, and
Yeah.
we were really impressed with Alabama, who got down 21-0 and was able to score a touchdown after not crossing midfield all game. Like, that's something that he would say because he loves Alabama, apparently. That big fourth down conversion against Auburn, like, goodness gracious. But yeah, I mean, if anything, he should be impressed that Notre Dame beat the crap out of them. Notre Dame, of course, being on the road in that game, but I don't know about this one. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you can't rule it out, but that would surprise me. I'm just seeing if Richard has made it back. Oh, we lost Jack, and now we have Jack.
hey, internet briefly crapped out. Sorry.
It happens. All right, we have made it through. Oh, we've made it through all of our super chats. So we are going to not end the show there. We the People $5 super chats says, what's the over-under on Freeman convincing Price to come back with RB1 talk and maybe make a little NIL cheddar? I think that Price, personally, I think he should play in the bowl game unless he really doesn't need to. He probably doesn't need to. I think it would be cool if he did to kind of show, like, here's me as RB1 for a bowl game. But what's the over-under? I mean, it's more like a percentage. I don't think it's going to happen. If he's a third round pick, dude, you got to go.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Remember, like, Audric Estime left as a fifth round pick, and it was not really a difficult decision for him to leave either. If you're a running back and you have the opportunity to go, you go. Yeah. There's not a lot of NIL money that can change that. It's just a matter of the years and the mileage, and I really do not think that being RB1 is going to influence NFL people as much as y'all do. I think a lot of the appeal with Price is just he does not have a lot of, or he does have a lot of tread on his tires. I always get that metaphor wrong. He has been fantastic this season. He's unselfish. He can catch passes a little bit. He showed that towards the end of the season. If anything, I think him coming back and being a larger part of the offense would highlight some of his shortcomings a little bit more, with like pass catching and pass blocking. I still don't think they would have him do a lot of that because that would be an Aeneas Williams job. If both of them came back. So if I were advising Jadarian Price, I would say go be a day 2 pick.
Yeah.
Get 1 year closer to your second contract.
Canyon Overlook says third round pick is not that much guaranteed money. It's more about, like, dude, how much more can a running back move up in draft stock?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. And also, like, the risk, you got to think the risk reward. That's the reward, not a whole lot. The risk is you're toast. It's not much guaranteed money, getting hurt next year, and then now you're really screwed. Now you're a 7th round pick, or maybe not even drafted. Like, so that's the risk reward that all these guys have to make. B. Larkin, thank you for the 10. Can Notre Dame not go to Big Ten or SEC and say, look, let's get rotating home schedules, and let's have a 3 to 5 year contract in Notre Dame? We'll play third best team during conference championship week. Okay, so you're like making a thing where Notre Dame can play a team in the. I mean, that's kind of what John Gruden was kind of saying, I guess.
I don't see any reason for the Big Ten and SEC to do this.
So what? Like Notre Dame plays Ole Miss yesterday, or Notre Dame plays Oregon. What upside is there for those two teams?
I'm not gonna lie. Like it's a nice idea for Notre Dame, but if I were the SEC or Big Ten and Notre Dame presented this, I would say join our conference or see ya.
But what if Notre Dame beats A&M? Then what upside is there for Notre Dame to do this? You're in 11-1. You're in, and then you still are probably in if you lose that game. And it's like, what's the point? Like, just I would say join a conference or don't. Like, I don't know this little half-C thing. It maybe would have been nice for this year, but other years it doesn't. So I think that would be a little overreactionary. So Jack, to sign off, unless we get any other super chats, dudes, like just now thinking about even personally for us, like I feel like my whole month is just flipped on its head. It's still such a surprise. And if you've been watching this entire 2 hours and 20 minutes, we haven't done a show this long in ages. Literally over 2 years that we've done a show this long. Like, I just keep coming back to how shocked I am, not because of the ranking in a vacuum, but how we got here, man. How we got here. So, any closing thoughts, Jack?
Yeah, just kind of echoing what I've said. Like, gutted for the players and coaches who did everything since week 3, did everything in their power to put themselves in this position. Just wasn't enough, and it really sucks for a team that had a legitimate chance to win the national championship.
Yeah. We'll probably still go live on Tuesday. Our normal Tuesday night show, and just continue to reflect and see what other news has come out from this. Any other fallouts, and then Wednesday 6-pack, Jack. I think we should still be on, and then planning to talk some Notre Dame recruiting this Friday. So that's our live show lineup. Marcus Freeman should have some media availability this week, especially if it's like a bowl game announcement, and Freeman will talk about it. If that's the case, Jack and Tyler Horka will do a video to discuss Freeman's press conference. Even if it's on Zoom, we'll still do a reaction video. So that is it. A shocking result for us at Blue and Gold with Marcus. I really thought Notre Dame was going to be in the 8-9 game playing at Oklahoma, but Notre Dame left out altogether. So that is the news. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. Blue and Gold will still be covering Notre Dame daily on the maybe not every day on this YouTube channel, but daily, definitely on our blueandgold.com website. So please consider subscribing at blueandgold.com. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.